Hello and welcome to Convincing Idiots. This week's episode, if you can believe it, is number 137. So, what you're in store for this week? We are catching up. We're talking about, of course, some of the things that we've watched, as well as some pop culture headlines, including the WB has a new streaming service, so we're going to discuss that and fill you in on that, as well as the big topic in pop culture headlines and amongst us, Star Wars. We love it. You love it. Who the hell doesn't? We're going to talk about some of the new Star Wars stuff coming, if we're excited about the format they're laying out, or if we're in for more heartache as Star Wars fans. So be sure to listen to that. And finally, the moment you've all been waiting for. It's been 3 weeks in the making, and now, finally, we will conclude our Convincing Idiots Battle of the Bands. That's right, the bracket will conclude this evening, so stick around till the very end. It is a very long one. So, without further ado, let's start the show!
All right, test.
Test.
You call it again?
Convincing Idiots.
Convincing Idiots.
Called it ham gravy.
I informed them that I sided with the Statman, not just anyone's opinion, the Statman Brian Fisher.
These kids today.
Jingle All the Way is in fact the best Christmas movie of all time.
I need to get Grandma a present, and my herpes is flaring up. I got it.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, yo, yo. I'm the millennial
We're
Santa.
three friends representing three different generations. That's our whole shtick. That's our thing.
Mm-hmm.
Nick got the whole poop.
Mm-hmm.
I'm standing in the sea
Awesome.
breeze, holding a turd, just mightily. I'm just going hitting hats.
Anyway, on a lighter
Welcome to
note,
the podcast. Welcome to the vodcast. Welcome to the broadcast. Boys and girls, welcome to the show. This is Convincing Idiots. My name's Dean. They call me the Zennial, and I call myself that, and all that's good stuff.
Do you?
Maybe.
I am Brian Gen X.
And I am the millennial here on this show. My name is Nick. And
Hi,
if
Nick.
this is your first time joining us, allow us to introduce you to ourselves. Convincing Idiots. We are a weekly podcast of three friends representing three different generations in which we discuss all
And some
things
chest.
nerd and pop culture, and some chesticles might be involved coming your way. We discuss nerd and pop culture, things of the day, things that we are interested in. We hope that you too are interested in them. If you have not already done so, please feel free to support the show by going on to all of our social media accounts, like, subscribe, rate, review, follow, give us all the stars, all of that awesome stuff. You can find all of our social media accounts conveniently placed for you on our link tree. So just Google Convincing Idiots, LINKTREE, and you can go and like, subscribe, and help us out. You can also find all that information on our website, which is convincingidiots.wordpress.com. You can find all that stuff, as well as our merch store. A link to that is up. That is correct. If you enjoy the show so much that you would like to wear us upon your body, we invite you to do so by getting yourself some sweet swag. You can also...
And when you do, take pictures and post them on our social media. I want to see the beautiful Brian's face on your body.
Absolutely. Yep.
Also on a shirt.
Yes. So be sure to put all of our faces on your body. Of course, Brian was probably the most popular to put there. Let's see. Did I get all that? We've also
Lost
we
Code
got
Media.
ways that you can help the show is on the
Correct.
website as well. And thank you for mentioning Boss Code Media, Boss Code TV. If you would like to find us on there, we would like to invite you to do so. Boss Code Media, if you're not familiar, is a content creator-driven platform that features ourselves as well as our friends over on It Came From Gen X. Please be sure to check them out as well. You might see a familiar face on there. And yeah, so Boss Code TV is available for as a free download on your smart TV or on your smartphone. So feel free to download and check us out there as well. So we are back for another edition of Convincing Idiots. And I'm going to start with Brian first because Brian's got one of my band submission shirts on, Iron Maiden. So, Brian, how are you doing?
Doing well, brother. Good weekend. Enjoying some nice weather here lately. Bike riding, getting outdoor.
Electric bike riding?
No, just actual.
Mm.
Well, it's like my legs are electrifying in some respects.
I've
You know
seen
what I'm
that.
saying?
He's telling
Yeah.
the truth.
Especially when they're
Yeah.
in heels, absolutely. Yep.
That's right. White as a sheet, but electrifying. You know what I'm saying? So
I know I get all tingly when I see him.
Yeah.
Enjoying some of the outdoor weather, outdoor activities, and the nice weather. So just a good week so far. So
Yeah.
thank you. How are you?
Gorgeous weather we're having, eh? Like, look at
Yes,
this.
it
It's
is.
April, and it's very comfortable. Well, actually, today it was a little warm for my taste, but it's been like mid to high 70s, and I
Mhm.
mean, it's pretty nice outside. Pretty
Unseasonably warm in Northeast
Nice.
Ohio. Yes.
Yes,
that's
yes.
true.
We will
Yep.
all die very soon. It's fun. But it's lovely outside. It's great. This is wonderful.
Then what better way to go out than looking at Brian's legs?
Sure.
That's right. At least
worse ways.
at least Brian's games are out.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
Mhm.
Look at this. Look at the stems on that old fella.
Mhm.
I bet they
Look
go
at how
all
them
the
legs
way
go
up.
right up and make an ass out of themselves. Look at that.
Like a
I will-
road neck to love.
Yes, that's right. That's right. I will add, by the way, just a good friend has lost his grandmother, Cooper, and it's been Saturday with the family. A very lovely service. 94 years of age, full life. Very nice lady. And just that family is just one of those families where I feel welcome since I was a kid. There's always been, invited to many things over there. It's just really, really nice. Nice to be around those folks out there. So, just thinking of them and.
Yeah, our condolences to the Coopers.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yes, a very
Absolutely.
nice day on Saturday with them. So, anyway, and Easter was Sunday. That's right. Easter was last Sunday. Nice time with mom. Visit over there, and just her and I hanging out, dinner. It was nice. So, how are you, Dean? How are you doing?
I'm good. What's up?
All right.
Did you do any rising yourself this weekend?
I did see Brian's legs, so yes. Yes, I did.
Resurrecting things from the dead and so forth. Yeah.
At this age, it is like that. We had a great Easter. Kids had a great time finding eggs and. All right, I don't. Kids had a great Easter. Life's good. Nicholas,
Yeah.
Mhm.
what's it say on your shirt there, bud? And everybody who's listening, please go to. Please go to. Yeah.
No,
Nicholas.
it's more of an inquiry, really. It's just a prompt,
Well-
I guess. It's just
what about
a conversation?
Well, it says, "Ask me about my ninja disguise." I'm going to use my time to Nicholas. What about your ninja disguise?
Oh, well, it's funny you should ask because every now and again I like to get in the spirit of the ninja, and goes a little something like this.
Awesome.
Ladies and gentlemen, who is not watching the YouTube show, not only do you get I'm not even going to give away that joke. Watch us on the YouTube channel so you can see the end of that joke and maybe Nick's bare chest, which we've never seen on the podcast.
It's
yet.
sweater
So-
weather.
yeah.
It is sweater
It is
weather outside. Yes, Robin got me this shirt, and it's been a lot of fun. So yeah, just figured I'd show it off to you gents tonight.
There you go.
It's
Kids got
beautiful.
a kick out of it. Yes, thank you.
So,
Yeah.
other than your beautiful shirt, how are you doing?
I'm good. This shirt has drastically enhanced my life
For sure.
already.
Well, it is
And
enhanced
the lives
ours
of
as well.
others. That's right.
Right.
Yep.
That's right. Gives me to show off my fuzzy nips to people, unprompted.
And we appreciate it.
And they don't know until it's too late. So that's kind of fun. No, I'm good. We had a nice weekend. It was not really too eventful, other than the holiday on Sunday, Easter Sunday.
Hey, didn't we get to hang out?
We did. It was very nice to be invited over by Dean and Megan, and the kids jumped on the trampoline on we'll call it the Harvey trampoline, the Harvey. We got to come up with a catchy name for the trampoline.
Yeah, we'll work on it.
Yeah. Maybe like the Tramp's Tramp, because I've always kind of referred to you as a tramp. So we'll
Sure,
just the Tramp
sure.
Tramp. Yeah.
I do sleep with you anytime you demand it.
That's true.
So,
But yeah, no, it was a nice day. We went over to Dean and Robin's mom and dad's house for a little bit and visited with them. Went over to my mom's house. They had a big egg hunt out there for all the kids, and so that was a lot of fun. It was like over 200 eggs.
Did
hidden
those
around,
kids find your head or something?
No. But yeah, nice day. And then we capped it off by going over to Dean's and watching the kids jump around and had a beer. It was nice. Good time. So that's about it. Really, nothing too crazy this weekend. It was pretty low key after the week before the kids were on spring break, so we did a lot of running around and did some fun stuff. So we just kind of laid low on Easter weekend for the most part. So
sure,
that's about it.
Nice. Okay. Very good, guys. Well, when we get into some idiot reviews,
Great show. Join us next week.
That's right. Yep, I think Black Canary won the whole bracket, if I'm not mistaken. It's just random superhero. Sorry.
Do you know
We
it's
just
going to
wanted
be a
you to
lot
know
of fun?
what it's like to feel like Dean
Yeah.
for just a
No
few
shit.
seconds.
I actually held that just so he better put a goddamn cricket sound after that joke.
Yeah, I can do that. I'll edit
He
the
does it.
cricket
He
of
does
my
it
own
enough
joke.
to me.
It just
that
gets edited out. Hey, it's not even there.
Right. What? I don't even remember saying that.
Brian only serves up the hits. We're going to edit that.
That's right.
out. That's it.
That was cricket worthy. That's fine. So, idiot reviews. So, you guys, have you seen anything interesting over the past week you wish to recommend to our listeners and viewers? Nick, why don't we start with you this week?
I've been watching a lot of pre-playoff hockey and basketball, so I invite you to watch those.
Sure.
Other than that, not really. I'm falling behind on some shows. I have been. We've been watching, catching up on season 6 of Working Moms. I don't know if I've ever talked to you guys about this show or not. It's on Netflix. This is like 6th season. Catherine Reitman, I believe is her name. Dean, you'd know her from, she plays Maureen on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So she's fantastic. This is her show that she writes and produces and stuff like that. It's season 6, but I love this show. It's just about.
Well, she's married to Charlie Day, right?
No. You're thinking of the waitress. The waitress in the show is married to Charlie Day. Yes.
Gotcha. My bad.
I don't believe that anybody. But she's fantastic. The show's very good. It essentially starts out over, in a like a mom group, like a mommy and me group, where like they're all new moms with babies, and they all kind of form friendships over this group, and then it just kind of follows them through life even after their kids are grown up and their careers, and just it's a very modern day comedy. It's just fucking awesome. I love it. So I definitely recommend that. It never disappoints. So just started season 6 of that, and then also I started watching again. This is not a new show. But I finally just decided, I'm like, you know what? I should watch Atlanta because I love Donald Glover, and I've heard so many amazing things about it. So I just started watching Atlanta, which I believe there are 4 seasons of, and it just
Something
went
like
off
that.
the air last year because it was like interrupted by the pandemic and stuff. But
Yeah.
2022 was the last season it was on air, so I just started watching that, which is I mean, I'm like 3 episodes in, but it's really good. It's very, very interesting. Certainly, dark in points, like it's got some dark comedy in it, which I very much appreciate, but it's really well done, like really funny. So that's about it. Those are the only 2 shows that I've really watched here recently.
Very good. Dean?
I honestly haven't watched much of anything either. Rather, other than continuing to watch Ted Lasso, and if you guys, you two or the audience isn't watching that, you guys really have missed out on life.
Fucking up.
Yeah. And you know what? Actually, when it was done, you know how you're kind of tired. You don't want to like pay attention to something, so you just kind of search through. I'm looking for a certain movie, right? Room 237. It's a documentary about the Shining movie. Yeah.
Okay.
So I Googled where I could find it, and it said you can find it, you can pay here, you can pay here, but you can find it on Tubi, right?
Okay. That's
So
a free app, right?
Yeah. So I downloaded Tubi, and we were too tired to actually turn it on to watch it because you want to pay attention and figure it out. So just found something mindless, and I found that it wasn't even. I don't even know if it was a documentary, but it was just 2 hours of clips from like 1940s to 1980s bloopers, TV bloopers. So I spent like
Really
2 hours watching old bloopers of Dick Van Dyke and and all those kind of shows. MASH was on there, so
yeah.
And they don't.
So
really,
it just plays
don't
them at
really
random, like it's just a roll.
There was nobody hosting. It was just clip after clip after clip. You don't really see. Do you remember, Nick? I don't know if you would remember. Brian, I know you remember TV bloopers and practical jokes.
Oh
Dick Clark.
Dick Clark and Ed McMahon.
Yeah.
They big '80s show.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was all it showed clips of like bloopers from like current TV shows, some from the past, and then added in like doing pranks on celebrities. Right. This was just the bloopers, but like uncensored. So you were hearing Dick Van Dyke say shit. You're hearing Henny Goodman say fuck. There was one where it was I can't remember. It was an old TV show. I think Soupy Sales maybe, but they were filming, and there was like a ring at this door, which obviously given by his face, it was not supposed to happen. So he kind of looked confused, walked over, and it showed a girl, and this was like the 1950s. So old black and white, grainy, that sort of look. And the girl's just naked, showing her naked tits at him. And he's just like laughing his ass off, and the crowd's laughing. But like, it's weird to see like 1950s tits and realize they're like either at her knees or dead at this point. It's a little strange.
Dead boobs.
Yeah, right. So that's what I watched.
Yeah.
That
reminds me, I think I told you guys about the on Peacock, there's a Saturday Night Live, like if you go to the live TV section where you can watch whatever's live on different channels that Peacock has the rights to, one of them is like a Saturday Night Live channel, and 24/7 they just like you're describing, Dean, at complete random. There's no host, there's no intros.
Yeah. Just
all over the years. Some of them are from the 70s and some of them are from 2 weeks ago. And it just at random. They're just mixed in, and it's kind of fun. And same deal. Like one night I just got lost. I was trying to turn something on to go to bed, and I stayed up for like 2 to 3 hours just watching. Some of them I'm like, I remember this. Some I'd never seen before because they were, before my time. But it's kind of cool just at random like that to see stuff like that.
It was fun.
Yeah. Dean, sorry, you already said. We're done with you. Brian, what'd you watch?
Get out of here.
What you watching?
Yeah, our YouTube channel at Convincing Idiots has the same
That's
effect.
what you've been watching? Okay.
No, on people. Just get lost in it, 2-3 hours.
Sure.
No particular host. You might see tits.
Yeah, we did tonight.
From at least a 50
exactly,
year
all already. Yeah, right.
That's right. At least cleavage, usually.
Yeah.
You get to see.
We're doing that tonight. Look at this.
Yeah.
What?
Eddie Goodman says fuck. That's a good it's a potential episode name. That's kind of funny. But anyway. I've been watching a couple of things. I got to mention this already, but the Night Agent on Netflix, I finished that up. Very, very good series. It's like 10 episodes or so. Very intriguing, worth a watch. It's like agent drama type stuff. If you like that sort of thing here, a lot of twists and turns. Definitely worth a watch, well acted, etc. Speaking of Saturday Night Live, Nick, did you watch last week Molly Shannon?
Yes.
Man, yes. I laughed.
I couldn't wait because
yeah. I laughed more that episode than in many. She was hilarious, and it was good to see her come back and reprise some of her roles. I remember her doing the lady who's 50.
50 years old. I like to kick, stretch, and kick.
That's right. So I remember her doing that back in the 90s, and now she's over 50 doing that. It was Sally O'Malley. That's it. Sally
O'Malley. That's right.
Yeah. Yep. Her with the Jonas Brothers, and Molly Shannon is so perfect at keeping a straight face. She never breaks, and she could just sense people breaking around her, and this makes her more funny and serious. I don't know. Very, very good episode if you're a Saturday Night Live and/or a Molly Shannon fan to check that out. There's an interesting movie on Netflix, Kill Boksoon, Boksoon. It's a Korean movie. It's kind of dubbed, but you can't really tell all that much. But interesting concept. It's basically a single mom who has a teenage daughter. So she's dealing with a lot of teenage drama in school. So she's trying to be a mom, all right, and balance that life. And the lady is also an assassin that her daughter does not know. So she's going to work as an assassin and leading that whole life, and then trying to balance being a normal mom to a teenage daughter and all that type of stuff here. So very interesting. The fighting and all that is tremendous. So a couple hours long. Check it out. Kill Boksoon on Netflix. And new series, I think it's the number one series on Netflix right now. I've got caught like 2 or 3 episodes and I'm hooked. I'm going to continue to watch this here. Beef. Have you heard of this? Beef?
I have. I don't know what it's about or anything. I've seen it like always as the first tab when you open Netflix.
Yeah. So Stephen Yoon.
See, I saw it, but I just didn't turn on because I just assumed it was just like 2 hours of you with your shirt off.
That's right. That's another version. That's on on Tubi. That's on Tubi. That thing is there. Yeah. I air after the bloopers are.
Fair enough.
You got to watch the whole thing. I'm kind of mixed in there.
Yeah,
that's right.
Mm-hmm.
I know I mixed that shit up.
That's right. No, but Stephen Young, he plays a character, Danny Cho, and the other lady is played by Ali Wong.
Oh, she's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Big fan.
It's very interesting. I'm not going to spoil anything, but Danny Cho basically it's 2 people on different, going through their different problems in life. So Danny Cho's kind of more of a down and out guy. He's had a terrible day, and he's backing out of a parking lot, and almost backs into this lady in a nicer car, who honks and flips him off, right? And he just loses it. Like, I'm done. That's it. And it's a whole road rage thing. He chases her down, and they eventually learn who each other are, and just different things start to happen where they're kind of going after each other. Both have problems in their own, so you kind of follow each other's lives. They both have their own problems, even though they're the lady is from an affluent family, but she has her own issues. And Danny Cho character, Stephen Young, has his own problems. So you follow their story and then just what's going on between the 2 of them. Very interesting, a lot of fun. It's kind of a dark comedy. Like I said, I'm a few episodes in. I'm going to continue to watch it and power through this here. So check out Beef on Netflix. And that's what I've seen.
Nice.
Yes. Go ahead.
So, Brian, with the pleasantries and what we've seen, idiot review type deal, what about headlines?
Yeah, we're going to get to that here next. We're going to take a break. I'm going to come back with that's okay.
See, this is what happens when I try to try to help.
Stay in your lane, bro. Stay in your lane.
No shit.
He's like, what about Gen X talk and memories?
Whatever. That's
the other podcast. No, you're doing fine. That is the next thing we're going to do. Is we're going to take a break and come back with pop culture headlines.
Don't patronize him and tell him he's doing fine. He's not doing fine. He's overstepping, Brian.
We'll edit that out where I'm telling Dean he's doing fine.
Talk to him when we get off camera.
There's only one person in this fucking world that can tell me I'm doing fine. It's not you. It's Aaron Blake with Blake Insurance. Because he's a good guy, and Blake Insurance is an Erie insurance agency located right here in Barberton, Ohio. They provide auto, home, renters, and business insurance with honesty, decency, and affordability.
Well, those are all the things I need.
Well, you should give them a call because Erie Insurance is above all else in service. You want to call 234-571-5359 or visit BlakeInsuranceLLC.com for your free, what? Did I say it correctly? I couldn't have, but I did. Free 5-minute quote today.
Free.
And when you do, tell him that the idiot sent you.
All right. Excellent. All right, so we're going to take a break and come back with what, Dean?
I don't know.
A stern talking to.
I'm going to get that during the break. No, we're going to come back.
So hard when Brian gives Dean what for.
Well, say it again, but slower, please. Now we're going to come back with some headlines because there is definitely something I, given my shirt tonight, really would like to talk about. So,
Yes.
Tommy Bahamas.
No.
Oh.
Chewbacca is on my shirt.
Oh. Tommy
Come on.
Chewbacca's.
It's a Chewbacca Hawaiian shirt.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. Oh, I remember. Yeah. He's like hiding in the leaves there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Very good. All right, so we're going to talk about that right after the break.
Brian's coming back in 5, 4, 3.
Welcome back to Convincing Idiots. Pop culture headlines there, gentlemen. Nick, I know you'll like this headline here. The great Arnold Schwarzenegger has made a little bit of headlines this week here. So,
With the pump. The podcast, the pump.
Not that, although I did listen to that. So it's Arnold's Pump Club or something like that.
Yes,
is that
the
what
Pump
it is?
Club. Yeah.
Yeah, very good. Like you said, it's 8 minutes or so. It's Arnold, like you said last week, and recommendations, but gives you a few things to think about, exercise routines, and just general health tips. Like you say, very easy listen. It's good to hear the governor on each day. But there was a pothole in his neighborhood here that he was, people were complaining about or whatever, and he filmed himself out there with he filled the pothole basically.
Yes.
And apparently it's a service trench for SoCal Gas, who was supposed to fill it or something like that. So, yeah. But it was causing
I heard that
damage.
he was like, "It's ridiculous out here, nothing's happening, and I say you want the job done, you do it yourself, and he's doing the thing, yeah." Because they were talking.
It's not my fault.
They were talking about it on the radio. They were like saying that they're like he kind of did it unprompted. Like somebody pulled up and was like, "Oh my God, Arnold Schwarzenegger!" He's like, "Yeah, well, you want something done? It's ridiculous. They don't fill these." And like he's doing, and like they didn't ask what he was doing. They were just like, "It's Arnold," and he was just like making a point to be like, "I'm out here. This is something must be done here." And like it was just they're like, "Okay, I think he just wanted to show that he was doing this thing," which I'm sure, yes, absolutely, because they were like. He was the governor of the state. Couldn't he make like a call and get it done if it was that
Right.
Oh no!
Look at the wounded tree. I take duct tape and I'll go around it and then fix it. Governor, we were trying to cut that down. Why did you stop us?
I find it is best like this. When the branches are falling down like this, they're hanging. It's looking terrible. It's looking bad on your state. It's looking bad for your city. Give it a machine exoskeleton and go ahead and just build it like a Terminator. You can fix these branches and make them strong again, make them whole.
Don't worry, October. I went ahead and glued all of the leaves back under the trees. No more. They're not going to fall anymore. I fixed it.
Take that, Autumn. Not around here. Not in California. We don't do that here. We pick up our leaves.
Fall.
The only thing that will be falling this autumn is you.
Awesome. I love your yeah. That was not the actual Arnold Schwarzenegger. If you're just listening and not watching this, it's
Very close.
Yeah, very very close. So good for Arnold getting out there and trying to help and get some publicity at the same time. So even though it's a service trench, they may have to dig it up to fix the gas line. I don't know, but
Arnold's just gonna go back out there and fill it again.
Why not? Every time you come out here and dig it up, I'm gonna fill it back up again. That's right.
I've been waiting for you, ugly motherfucker.
What are you waiting for? Fill the trench now. Do it. What are you waiting for?
See, it's not a gas line.
Ladies and gentlemen, you might ask, how does one refine an impression like that over this is from watching Jingle All the Way at least 8,000 times.
Yeah,
or so.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you just really refine the
Nick has
mannerisms and everything.
Mine sounds like my impression sounds like Triumph the Insult comic dog from Conan O'Brien.
Yeah. That's right.
I kid with you. This is just jokes and craziness.
It's for me to poop on.
It's for me to poop on and things of this nature. It's not for you. It's jokes.
What is that
Yes.
beard? What do they have that beard for?
Yep.
You catch on a favor savers?
Can I get a try of the insult dog? Hasta la vista, baby.
That's good.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Okay.
It's the same thing. It's the same.
It really is.
Make us put the
Just a little
work
higher
in,
pitch.
ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. A couple good news stories here. Well, I mean, one is a alarming. Then glad he's okay. I don't know if you saw this or not. Jamie Foxx had some type of medical emergency on Wednesday.
I did not
Didn't hear
see
about
that.
this.
Yes, but he's okay. His family said something very vague right now.
Good thing they haven't wrapped that Spawn movie yet. I can't fucking have anything happen.
Yeah.
Damn
At least we're thinking about the important things.
Been waiting since 1997 for another Spawn movie, all right?
It said his condition was serious enough that his family, some of whom were not in town, came to the hospital.
Oh, shit.
And the representative said he is communicating now. So something happened on that. So they haven't really said anything yet.
Something
but
like happens to me. My family
is
comes
okay.
just to make sure that I'm dead.
Yeah.
They're like, I just want to make sure this
Poke you with a
motherfucker's
stick.
actually dead. Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right.
We had to divide up these Hawaiian shirts amongst the family and so forth.
But you didn't.
Yeah.
Well, did you hear the most recent released 911 call?
No.
No. The operator picks up and Megan's like, my boyfriend Dean, he's unresponsive. I think he's dead. And she goes, ma'am, hold on, relax. Now make sure, find out, is he dead? And the operator's listening. She puts the phone down and she hears a gunshot and come back, goes, yeah, he's dead.
She's like, ma'am, please relax. I'm like, oh, I'm totally relaxed.
No, I'm fine. Just giving a heads up.
I gotta
Clean up aisle 3.
Cue up the crickets sound again. Yep. And then I don't know if you guys saw or not, but Jeremy Renner's been making some appearances again.
Yeah.
He has a new show, Renovations, on Disney Plus.
Is that where they renovate his face? Because it kind of.
Oh,
That was terrible. I'm sorry. It just.
Well, apparently the
I
show.
love Jeremy Renner. I don't want to say. I'm sorry.
He
No, fuck y'all.
gets
like
things, he renovates them, and uses them for another purpose. Like he described, he bought a fire engine and made it like a kids' party vehicle where he, has like the kids can play on it and stuff like that. I don't know, but he's been on some talk shows and things recently.
Well,
And
the
it's made
third
his first
episode,
red carpet.
The third episode, he gets a snowplow and makes it into a nightmare.
Mm-hmm. That's better.
It's better.
Better. No, but
We'll work on it.
yeah, it was good to see him. He was on I called him on Jimmy Kimmel the other night, and he described what happened and everything. It was pretty harrowing. I mean, he's lucky to be alive, So, but he's getting back out there. There is yet another streaming service that's going to be debuting. Warner Brothers Discovery unveils Max. So apparently it's a new combined platform to compete with Netflix and Disney. Yeah. So it unveiled just yesterday, I guess. It's a blended streaming service of HBO Max and Discovery Plus called Max. So it will combine. It's the same formula these other streaming services are trying to.
No, but they have 3 tiers.
They're going to have like
HBO already, right? Or is that not anymore?
They're probably going to change it up. It sounds like so. It's going to have these scripted dramas like HBO's Succession, White Lotus, and House of Dragon. It says with Discovery's unscripted staples like cooking, home improvement, and survival shows. It's going to be debut May 23rd. $9.99 per month, or $20 a month if you want it ad free.
No, but there's a middle tier that it goes $9.99 for the service, and then it goes like $10.99 for ad free service, and then like $20 a month for super ad service, super free ad service. So
what is super free? What is that?
I don't know. I just read that, and I'm like,
it's
what?
$15.99 without ads, and $20 is it's Max Ultimate ad free, like you said. It'll allow for 4.
You get no ads and a
streams.
hand job while you watch Skinamax.
Apparently.
Well, for only $20 a month. Jesus.
Yeah, I think
I'm
it's a steal.
paying way
really.
more for hand jobs now. So
Right.
It's going to add the
You've been
DC.
giving me weed for years for a hand job.
They're going to add the Penguin series on there, so the new Penguin series with Colin Farrell, apparently. So
I did not know.
Is that the
that
one
thing.
out of Pittsburgh?
no, that's the Pittsburgh Penguins.
He plays
hockey
Sidney
team.
Crosby. Oh, okay.
This is the
I
Batman
I
villain.
mix Sidney Crosby and
Yeah.
and Colin Farrell up all the time. My bad.
Yeah, so it sounds like they're going to try to take some of these original series that they might have
And
just
take
put
your
on
money.
HBO. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't sound interesting to me at
No.
all.
I'm interested, like uber interested to know what the difference between ad free and super ad free is.
Yeah,
Right.
it is confusing.
Or like with ads, you're getting like, okay, we're going to interrupt you for 30 seconds twice an episode. Or super ad free is like never, ever anything. You just always stream immediate, like Netflix. It's just
Yeah,
what.
can you call it ad free and put
Ultimate
some ads?
ad-free?
That's bullshit, right?
I don't know.
We're not going to show you ads. We're just going to interrupt you with meaningless, pointless shit in the middle of your episode.
Actually, they're going to interrupt each episode. They're going to interrupt the show with me.
Yeah. I'll pay the more
I'm
money.
not
to keep
advertising
them off of
shit,
there.
but you ain't watching your show yet. Not for another 30 seconds.
That's right.
Hold on, I got to say the word titty meat. Give me a second.
Gotta pay not to hear it.
Got to pay not to hear it.
That's right. Yeah, so
We used
just,
to-
I,
$20
That was a hashtag.
a month went up like 3,000%.
That was a hashtag we used to use for a while. Pay us to stop. Because that
Yeah.
was like, pay us to stop.
yeah, we gotta put that back on there again.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, and then so Stranger Things. Nick, you watched that series, right? On
I do.
Netflix?
I love Stranger Things. Yeah.
I don't know if you saw this or not, but they're
You are
going to
married
get.
to my sister.
Yeah,
Big fan.
they're going to
Somebody's
produce
got
an
to be.
animated series, Stranger Things. So it's going to be set in that universe.
Okay.
I don't know that much about it, though. I don't know if it's going to be the same kids or not. It just says it's going to be set in that universe. That's all I can gather so far. So Netflix is going to pick it up. Yeah, so I guess we'll see what it's all about here. I mean, I guess part of it is, obviously the kids in the series are growing up, so maybe they're trying to think of a way to, branch off.
Do you think this time they'll draw fucking teeth in that kid's head?
Maybe. No, I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so. I don't know. So I'm not quite sure when it will debut, but it is something that is in development, it seems. So we'll
Don't
watch for that.
fucking right. I get that the kid has a thing where he can't grow teeth. Eat shit.
Let's cancel
I don't care.
Dean. Hashtag cancel
Mhm.
Dean.
Yeah, how about cancel my nuts from your fucking eyes like a Roman soldier helmet?
What?
Wow.
What?
A you never heard the term Roman soldier helmet, where you put your testicles in somebody's eyes and then you put your dick down over their nose like a Roman soldier helmet?
No.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Okay.
The Roman
No,
Given
I'm not.
Roman soldier helmet. Yeah, the testicles on the eyes and the dick on the bridge of the nose. There. Yeah.
You can't say you're not learning new things
That's right.
on this podcast.
You come here
That's right.
to learn.
It's fun and educational. Yeah.
That's
That's
right.
right.
That's right. Okay, so we're going to get into
All right,
our final headline, which is going to take us into our Ask an Idiot question of the week here. So big news in Star Wars geek and nerd culture here. They've
Yeah.
announced 3 Star Wars movies recently.
Mhm.
3 separate movies. This is not a trilogy. And they're going to take place in different timelines of the Star Wars storyline. So apparently one is going to be by James Mangold, who has done Logan, Indiana Jones, and the Dial of Destiny coming out this summer. It's going to be
Which I'm very much looking forward to as well.
yes, the Indiana Jones movie looks very good. So this is going to be set in well before Darth Vader and the Emperor. So tells the story of how the Jedi rose apparently, and then make it into.
From my understanding, it is the story of like the first Jedi. It is the creation of the Jedi Order and the creation of like people like realizing that they could develop, because the Force is within everybody, but this is like people realizing that
Harnessing
they
the
can
power.
use it. Yes.
Okay.
Harnessing the power. That's a great way to put it. That's my understanding of it as well.
Okay. And it says it may show the Sith cult starting up as well or something like that. So I guess we'll see.
Well, given on the timeline, because the timeline, that doesn't happen until a couple hundred years after. Like you develop the Jedi, and then it depends if they're going to go with the story of like, the original Sith or not. I mean, it's Disney. They could, kind of tweak it a little bit, but that shouldn't happen until a bit down the line after the creation of the Jedi Order.
You think maybe very young Yoda would be in this? Maybe, I wonder, because Yoda was 900, didn't?
Right. Well, this is supposed to happen like 10,000 years.
Oh, I guess not then. Okay.
Yeah. Now, what the next one you're about to talk about?
Yeah, James. Let's see. That's his movie. Sorry, it's Dave Filoni. He's going to focus on the New Republic.
My mistake.
Yeah, so this is the middle one here. So this basically is going to tie together.
Sorry.
Go ahead. Why don't you fucking
No, you're sorry. Yes, I'm sorry. I'm excited about it. I've been reading and watching all this shit. I'm very excited.
Fuck it.
Go ahead.
You do the notes. Fuck it.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. No, we're all excited about this. No, so it's the Dave Filoni. So it's going to be
mean, isn't he? People mean.
This focuses on the New Republic. So this is what the Mandalorian is supposed to bridge together. The Mandalorian, Ashoka, and Book of Boba Fett. So that's the storyline now to show, kind of how the New Republic faltered apparently, and how the New Order rose. And obviously, and if you're watching The Mandalorian, you get a taste of, you can see they're making it very clear that the Empire really isn't dissolved fully. There's still folks there, and the New Republic is full of bureaucracy and just doesn't have their crap together. They look like they're very easy to retake, which obviously happened in the sequel trilogy. So, Dean, go ahead. What are your...
All right. So, from my understanding, that this is going to be the Avengers of the Mandoverse. So, you have the Book of Boba Fett, you have Mandalorian, and you have Ahsoka. All those shows, because you're going to get quite a few different seasons up before this movie even begins. So, this is... all those shows are going to be like all the beginning Marvel movies up until Endgame type deal, right? So this movie is going to be the end of the Mandoverse. Maybe not the end. They might still go on with like Mandalorian, but this is the culmination. This is the big, all three shows, all these characters come together. And from my understanding, if you watch the Ahsoka trailer, you have the big bad coming. I'm again, no spoilers, so watch the trailer and kind of it. If you know the comic books or the Rebels cartoons, you'll be very excited to see this. So I'm not going to spoil anything, but this is supposed to be the culmination of these shows. Okay.
Very good. And then the last one that you're excited about is the Charmin Obaid Chinoy. Am I saying it correctly? It's going to take place after the events of Star Wars Rise of Skywalker. Daisy Ridley will come back to reprise her role of Rey, and she builds a new Jedi Order. So I'm definitely interested in that as well. So
15 years after.
15? Okay.
Yeah, 15 years after the Rise of Skywalker.
Okay. So you can start to maybe piece together the awful sequel trilogy and maybe fill some gaps and do some things and try to maybe salvage that storyline perhaps. So
sure.
Interesting.
Serious work.
Yes. What are your thoughts on that one? You said you're most excited for that one.
No, honestly, I'm probably the most excited about the TV show, The Acolyte.
Okay.
That was also announced. Well, it's been announced for a while, but The Acolyte is going to focus on Sith, like a Sith acolyte, and I think it's supposed to be like this is where you could see Yoda, because it is like few hundred years before of like all the prequels.
Okay.
So that you could see Yoda in, because he is in that that timeline. But it follows a Sith acolyte, and it almost probably explains like how the Sith stay hidden and their plan ultimately to rise, which obviously happened in the main trilogy. So yeah, I'm excited about that. The Rey one, the sequels puts a bad taste in your mouth. We all agree with that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were some good things about it, but the way they fucked Luke Skywalker's character is, you can't. There's no way to get around that.
Unforgivable.
Exactly. As a Star Wars fan, it's fucked up. So there's no way to fix that. The only way you can fix that is if you, and it's so convoluted, but if you went back, if you watched the Clone Wars or Rebels, there is a time travel element, world between worlds, that you could fix it. But it would be so convoluted that like the general not nerdy Star Wars fans wouldn't understand. It would be too confusing. So I don't think you could do that. But yeah, I'm hoping that it at least softens the blow of what we saw in the sequels. So I don't know. Nick, what are your thoughts, bud?
Well, are we talking about all the Star Wars things that are coming, or are we more focused right now on the
No, you could
movies?
anything we just went through. Pick,
Okay.
poke, prod.
Well, the Ahsoka trailer was fucking sick. Like,
Doesn't it?
holy shit! Like, I was already excited for it. It didn't matter. That's of all the things that they've been coming out with. As soon as they announced that, I was super pumped. I mentioned with you guys, as far as like, I've probably watched that single episode of The Mandalorian featuring her from season 2 probably 3 or 4 times. Like, it's just such a good standalone episode. Yeah. Rosario Dawson does an incredible job with the character, and I'm really pumped. I watched the trailer. I was even more pumped. Like, this is what gets me going, right? When it comes to the Star Wars stuff, a lot of the side stuff. Andor is going to have a season 2. It's just, I don't need all these little side avenues, but this is central. Ahsoka's a central enough to the plot of the Skywalker saga that I'm very intrigued, and I like the character, and I'm excited to see where it's going to go. Other characters they're going to bring in that you're familiar with from other properties that they've already put out. So really, really pumped for Ahsoka. The movies that I skimmed an article that kind of briefly outlined some of that stuff. Of the 3 movies that you mentioned, the one that grabs my attention the most is the one that is kind of the origins of the Jedi. I think that could be pretty interesting. I like that a lot. And then the one just that with after the last trilogy, like I'm so, like you said, I've got a really bad taste in my mouth, and I'm like, if it's like a movie in theaters, which it will be, like, I'm still gonna go see it. It's a Star Wars movie in a theater. I will probably go see it. But I'm like, I never cared for her character. I never cared for those movies. Like, I just don't. She's a very blah thing for me. Like, the character itself. I think it could have been different if they did this big tease, like she was somebody, and she kind of was, but it wasn't worked in a clever way. I don't know.
Would you be more interested, like me, like if they did 2 hours of her just like sucking on her like pinky?
I'm not really that like, she's okay, but I'm not like that taken by her. She's
okay.
You know what I mean? She's attractive, but she's
what about
she's fine.
45 minutes of me sucking on my thumb?
Now we're getting somewhere.
All right.
No, she's a good actress. You know what I mean? Like, it's nothing against her. Like, she's done fine in those roles. I don't know. I've just got there's such an ick factor over the last 3 movies that I'm just like, I'm not. It's not fair to say that about The Force Awakens. I genuinely enjoyed The Force Awakens. and it was awesome to see in the theaters. We all enjoyed seeing it in the theaters,
Mhm.
and that one was fine. Was it the most original thing you've ever seen? No, absolutely not. But it was fine, and it was fun, and it's really it checked the boxes that I'm looking for from a Star Wars movie. So it's not fair to lump really that one in. It's just part of that, that trilogy. So, but yeah, there's some interesting stuff coming out. Ahsoka definitely takes the cake. That's what I'm really excited to see. I don't know much about the other, really, the acolytes or what. Like, I saw it was announced, but I didn't know anything about it. With Skeleton Crew, don't know anything about that. That was another thing that was announced. Right, it's a TV show.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
So,
See, well, it shows exactly what you're saying there, Nick. I think what most everybody's excited for is stuff you can't poke holes in.
Yeah.
If you do stuff like now, things not now, but like stuff that happens after the sequels, you're treading into canon that we know and we know by heart.
Mm-hmm.
You go back 1,000, 10,000 years, or even 100 years to it's a clean slate, so you can't fuck something up. You can't go, oh, you ruined this character.
Yeah,
they wouldn't have done it this way because there's no reference at that point.
Yeah, or you like it or you don't. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like, oh, this is for me or that's not for me. But you're not everybody's so hardcore and passionate about that stuff because it's not really been touched on before. So you're not,
like
messing with something sacred. Right? Yeah, like
you still
Andor
have the idea of like, oh, it's a fine show.
Sure,
but some people are like, well, I'd like to see this person in it, and they need to explain this to answer what happened in this movie. You go 10,000 years, you don't have that problem. You can just make a new Star Wars movie with the general idea of what people like about Star Wars.
Right. Yeah. So you're getting into the ask an idiot question here. So, you're kind of answering a little bit already, which is fine. So, we like the question of the week is, do we like the strategy of Star Wars movies to where they're just building separate movies with talented movie makers? They're going to set them obviously in different parts of the storyline to either set something up, tie things together, or try to maybe fix storylines or elaborate on storylines, similar to what they're doing with the series, like you mentioned already. Do you like that approach to the movies versus here's yet another trilogy set in whatever timeline, and whatever happens, and I think so I'll just pause there. So, Nick, what do you think of the strategy? To start with you, what do you think of the strategy of the separate movies versus the trilogy plan?
I like separate movies for a couple reasons. Number one, when it comes to Star Wars, they've always been packaged as trilogies. So we rate them as that, and we focus on them as the collective package. I like that they did that for the Skywalker saga, and that's fine. But let's leave Star Wars proper, the one we've all come to know and love. Let's leave that where it was. It's great. It's fine. Right? It's got its good, it's bad, but ultimately it's classic. Let it be there.
Mm-hmm.
Leave it alone. Tell me different stories, that's fine. Some I might like, some I might not, but that way it's not sitting there messing with the thing that we all, I don't want it to water down the thing that we all love, right? I don't that was kind of one of my big fears when Disney took over, is I'm like, they're gonna just constantly hit you over the head with new stuff, and they're gonna go down all these different,
But they even announced that we're gonna do movies. We could keep doing movies for 100 years.
Sure. Yeah. Right. And
Sure.
it's like, okay, that's fine, but I like, tell me separate stories and make them their own thing. I'll even be honest, like with Marvel, it's too goddamn much for me, really. I don't need them all to tie together.
Well, Marvel
why
just
I like Black
announced that
Panther?
they're
Nobody
back.
else is fucking in it. It's about Black Panther, and it's a solo movie, and it's great. You don't need to watch
those movies from Marvel now.
Okay, see, like it's
they're cutting back.
Don't get it twisted. Like, I appreciate the storytelling and the thought that goes into tying them all together and placing this guy here and that guy there. But I don't. If I want to go just watch a movie about a character that sparks my interest, I don't want to feel like I have to have done all the homework before it to get every single thing that's in it. Like, just tell me a story and let the writing carry you. Tell me a story and let it be. And I like that. but I also think, I don't know, yeah, like I like that idea of just breaking away with, tell me that story, let the writing carry you, tell me something, different. I don't remember if I said two reasons, and I don't remember if I tied my second one in or not, but basically that's what it comes down. Like, I do,
Sure.
that's fine, but I just don't need, I don't know, I don't like you said, the last three left a bad taste in my mouth, and I'm just kind of like, I don't know. I don't like that it certainly doesn't damage the original trilogy at all for me, because, I can watch those and enjoy them for what they are, always and forever. Nothing will ever touch that. That's a part, it's ingrained in my very DNA from the time that I was old enough, before I could even remember I can't remember the first time I saw Star Wars. It was just always there, and that nothing will ever touch that. But just give me different things, and maybe, like, I like that was the other thing. I like single stories, yes, because that way I don't want to feel like I have to see all the shit.
I have it under good authority. When your dad came
Yes.
to produce you, he yelled Luke. So, like, it's been like from the beginning.
Okay, all right, good to know. I bet my mother enjoyed hearing him yell out a man's name while being conceived.
Get your mom done tequila. She'll tell a lot of stories.
Yeah. So, but Brian, how do you feel about the whole thing? Do you like this approach, or do you think it's, what are your thoughts?
Makes 1,000% more sense to me as well. I mean, just, that last trilogy, we talked about it, off camera, on whatever. It just seemed like it just did not have a plan. We have 3 movies we have to make. We made one decent one, like you said, the first one, and it seemed like the next 2 just we have to force this in, and the storyline went all crazy directions, and it was just way too forced. So there's too many interesting stories to tell, like you're saying, in the Star Wars universe. That, again, they don't need to tie it at all together necessarily. Like you said, the Jedi one, they could do whatever they want with it. It's totally separate. They don't have. I don't need to see how that first movie, how fucking the ancestor of Grand Moff Tarkin was born, or something something stupid like that. We don't care about all that stuff, right? It just doesn't matter. It's just we get the gist of the what a Jedi is and what a Sith is, and that's it. That's fine. We get it. You tell the story around interesting characters in that timeline. That's fine. That's great. I like the bridge movies to where you can elaborate on different timelines of the universe. But again, even that sort of stands on its own. Again, you sort of get I get it. The Empire fell. I sort of got that. A new one's going to rise. I understand that too. Great. That's it. That's all I need to really understand. I kind of see how all that sort of happens a little bit. And again, I am intrigued with the Daisy Ridley one to see what they do to try to maybe, like I said, fix some of the ridiculousness of that trilogy. That'll be interesting. They say that could be out as early as 2025, by the way, that Daisy Ridley one. So that could happen pretty quickly. But yeah, so I love the strategy.
They hired her like a year and a half ago. Well, there was reports that they hired her like a year and a half ago. So for all we know, they could already be in production.
Yeah, it's very possible. So same strategy with the series. I think that's what you learn. We're putting these series out here. They have some attention. They have some success. Why the hell are we trying to do another trilogy? Why don't we use the same approach with the movies? And at least somebody had brains enough to suggest it and accept that plan. I like it, and I think that's what we're going to continue to see probably for a very, very long period. I would be surprised if they would come back and announce another trilogy at all, if not anytime soon, certainly. So anyway, Dean, what do you think?
Okay. I have a lot of thoughts. All right. But I still will be brief.
Too bad we're out of time because we got to get to the...
Oh,
no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Go ahead. What do you think?
Yucks, fella. All right. You guys both spoke about the excessiveness of the trilogy. I think the trilogy should have, and this goes with the sequels. The trilogy should be done if needed. Nick, you were saying that you liked the idea of standalone movies. I do too. I think they should all be standalone movies, and the trilogy should, or even sequels, should only come if required. If the fans are asking for it, and B, if the story seems like it could be necessary. Don't make the movie as in like, oh, we're gonna go
We're
for a
going to tell it
trilogy.
in 3 spots. Like, it's
Right.
going to be in 3 segments.
No,
and you're
do
right.
a movie where, like, yeah, if you don't kill all the characters at the end and go, that's the movie. This isn't Glory, right? The movie Glory, not just the fucking random word. In that movie, everybody dies at the end.
Okay, I was thinking that must be what it is.
All right. So the idea mainly is that I think the sequels or trilogy should be based upon as needed, right? And I think when you guys are talking about,
So basically, what you're saying, if I hear correctly, is don't get yourself in a glory hole.
say that again, but slower.
I said what I think what you're saying is don't get yourself in a glory hole.
Man.
But I think sometimes it's necessary to get yourself in one, bud.
But once you're in one, it's so hard to get out.
Yeah. I mean, you both are so right, and so many. What was I talking about? Oh, it's hot in here.
Star Wars and black holes and
Brian's boners in a hole. All right. When you guys are talking about, here's the thing about the sequel trilogy. The idea that, like, they went so hard and so fast to get them out there, actors or the directors, the one they didn't like the script, so they brought J.J. Abrams back to fix what Ryan Johnson did. I think that Disney has learned from their mistakes the same as Lucasfilm did with the holiday special. They put the holiday special out there because, like, they saw the demand for shit. So, like, they produced this horse shit movie, TV, whatever you want to call it. They produced this thing because, like, they just saw money, demand, just put it out there quick as they could. And I think that's what Disney did with the prequels. I think they've learned their lesson to take a step back, take a deep breath. Let's get the story right before we, continue. And with Dave Filoni, I think that he is the perfect person to be at the helm for this. So I think the putting him in charge has righted that wrong. If he would have been in charge from the beginning, you would have seen a completely different sequel. I mean, and it probably would have, like, he probably would have had that shit written out to where, like, the Mandalorian was involved in, intertwined with it.
The movies,
right?
Yeah.
So, but right now they just have to do damage control on that, and I think that's what the Rey movie's going to do. But my last thought is I'm excited about all of it. I really can't point out like a specific thing. I love the idea of the Acolyte. I'm fascinated by the Rey movie. The beginning of the Jedi seems really fucking cool. But like, why does it like Marvel? Sometimes they have one that's really dark and serious, and sometimes it's funny.
Right.
Why do they all have to like be the same? Why can't we throw in
because Star Wars fans are insane.
But like, why can't we throw some like a TV show that's funny? Why can't we have a Star Wars property that is lighthearted and funny, like like fucking Sophie's Choice or something? Let's laugh a little, people. Why does it all have to be serious? So
yeah, there's something there you could do. Obviously, you find a character that's. We could talk more about that later, but yeah, that's
okay.
You're right. They could, there's things they could do. Yeah.
So those are my thoughts.
Okay. Well, it sounds like we all agree definitely that we definitely like this plan. We like the plan of the separate storylines, the separate movies, and not feeling forced.
Yep.
They have to pump out a trilogy that with no freaking plan.
Don't feel forced to pump out all of your plans into a glory hole. There you go.
That's right. Don't get
yourself in a glory hole.
That's right. That's what we learned in this segment.
Tell me what
nothing
to do.
Else. That's right. And one thing we're going to learn in our last segment is Who is the best rock band based on our random battle bracket, right? So, yes. Do you want to know who it is?
I
If
do.
So, that's right. Come back after the break.
Wow.
Speaker, the main host this year is they always try to get somebody who's an alum of DI or whatever, and this year it is the composer of the score of Everywhere Always All at Once, or what, Everything Always Over. The guy that did the score for the movie is the keynote.
I'm sure he'll be fine, but like I don't think anybody's going to top what John Glenn did.
Yeah, drunk John Glenn. Yeah,
drunk John Glenn was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what, kids? We never landed on the moon.
I'm Dr. Love. This is Dr. Pepper Cherry. It has a kiss of cherry flavor. This devilish elixir has a kiss of cherry.
Dad, it's not kiss. It's kiss of cherry. It's amazingly smooth. Be smooth.
Dr. Pepper Cherry is amazingly smooth. Trust me, I'm a doctor.
Coming on back, Louis. We're gonna come back with all of the convincing idiots here. We're coming back in 5, baby, and we're coming back in 4, baby, and we're coming back in 3, and then now in 2.
Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. Check 1 2. Check 1 2.
Syphilis.
Are we good? Syphilis. And we are back for segment 3 of Convincing Idiots. Ladies and gentlemen, you came from far and wide. You spent your hard-earned money to be here tonight. And now we present to you the conclusion of our Convincing Idiots Battle of the Bands. To briefly give you a synopsis of what we've been doing so far. A couple episodes ago, we started our Battle of the Bands. We each submitted, 5 bands of our choosing.
5, and there was one floating that we all agreed to.
Correct. Mm-hmm. So varying degrees of why we picked them, various criteria. If you have not heard the prior segments, you may want to go listen to segment 3 of the last 2 weeks to get you caught up on how we got here. But without further ado, we are now reaching our semifinals, finals, and then finally a championship matchup for our Battle of the Bands. And now, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage the keeper of the bracket, none other than the American Dream himself, Dusty Dean, the Zennial. Please,
ladies and
Dusty
gentlemen, thank you for bringing us the Dusty Dean is the American Dream, and he is bringing you the brackets. He is bringing you everything you want, baby. All right, ladies and gentlemen,
baby.
There's only so much you can keep that up and read this. Okay, so I'm actually going to run through this, if you guys don't mind, very briefly. What on the first side, we had AC/DC against the Beatles. The Beatles moved on. Then we had the Soundgarden against Queen. And then Queen moved on. Aerosmith and The Who. Aerosmith moved on. Metallica and Led Zeppelin. Metallica moved on. And then we had Rolling Stones against the Foo Fighters. Rolling Stones moved on. Fleetwood Mac against Tool. Very interesting conversation. Tool moved on. Iron Maiden and Rush. Iron Maiden moved on. And then Guns N' Roses and Eagles. Probably our best and toughest discussion. But Guns N' Roses ultimately moved on. So this next round, the semifinals, we're going to start. I won't go through the thing. I just went through, all of the first rounds. So I'm going to go this, starting what we're going to discuss right now, the Beatles against Queen. In my opinion, this might be the hardest choice of the whole bracket, this round right here. So Beatles against Queen. Let's start with Nick, because I don't really know Nick's opinion on either band, other than what we've heard in past shows. So, Nicholas.
So, like I said in past episodes, we're kind of going to go through this relatively quickly because we've already, at some degree, we've discussed our vague opinions.
The band.
Sure, on each episode. So, there's two minds that I'm going to go into every single one of these matchups with, and it's almost a kind of inner battle of which one will prevail. There's one in my head that I'll have as the legacy pick. This is the one that I feel should win or would win or whatever. And there's the other one, which one do I like more and why? Simply put, the Beatles are the legacy pick. This is a perfect example. They are commonly referred to as, if not one of the greatest bands of all time. They've influenced countless bands. They're legendary, is honestly putting it mildly. So the Beatles are the legacy pick. However, Queen is one that sonically, when it hits my ears, musically is much more impressive to me. Just from a musicianship standpoint, which I'm not. But I'm just saying, when I hear the music,
you are a ninja, though.
I am. That's right. I am, as you have seen. Yes.
Oh, we got Nick Titties again. Look at that, everybody.
So yeah, it comes down to which one do I enjoy more, basically. So that's kind of where my thoughts are. Do you want me to give you my pick, or are we gonna discuss?
No. We'll discuss, and then we'll go back around real quick.
Yes, I feel the Beatles are kind of the legacy pick. That's the one that should win. But when I listen to the Beatles songs and I listen to Queen's songs, I am more impressed with what I am hearing when I listen to Queen, both vocally and certainly vocally, and from a musicianship standpoint. Brian May on the guitar is just incredible and all-time great. And but again, different styles of music, different times. You know what I mean? Like, would there be a Queen without the Beatles? I don't know. You know what I mean? So it's tough. So, Brian, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, that's one of the first things that popped in my head too. Was like, there's really not much of a comparison vocally between Freddie Mercury and
anybody.
A lot of people, frankly, right. Most rock vocalists. I mean, he's up there on the Mount Rushmore of rock vocalists. I think we did that in another episode, by the way. Anyway,
I believe we did.
Yeah, and he's definitely up there. So, but again, for me, I look at I tend to agree a lot with what you're saying, Nick. Is when I sit down to want to hear the best of Queen or the best of the Beatles, it kind of depends on your mood a little bit here. Definitely, if I want to hear more of a sonically powerful music and more of a rocking music, I'm probably going to put Queen on. But if I want to hear something that's more, I don't know, more relaxing.
It's catchy. It's got good hooks. It's more. It's really of a pop of the. I mean, really, certainly when they started out, very. What we would consider today as being more of a pop type, approach.
Yeah, absolutely, and certainly Brian May is a great guitarist and everything. The Beatles, certainly, I don't know, they're just super influential. The songwriting talents are up against any band in history, probably. But all things considered, between the lyrics and everything, and just how they were able to transcend and evolve, really makes the Beatles that much more competitive. And again, like I said, just the influence overall. So it's interesting. It's a tough debate here. So Dean, what do you think?
All right, so. Like you said, Brian, before you, Nick, both of you are right. Musically, the Queen has much wider range. They are much better and more talented musicians, right? But my argument for...
Go ahead.
Well, I mean, as in the
just impressing you
riffs,
with the
impressiveness of
showmanship.
Right.
Sure.
Showmanship. There you go. But my argument for the Beatles is actually, I thought of it as from what Nick was saying, was like, it depends on what mood you're in. The
Yeah.
Beatles, they weren't around, honestly, as long as many people would probably think. But the time that they went from the 50s to like the 60s. They broke up, 69, 70, something like that, right?
Nice.
So, so
The sex number.
But no, I got it. So, but what they did in all of those albums, they gave you so many different variations of themselves. They evolved with time and learning who they were as musicians, given from like the original Ed Sullivan Beatles to Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Clubs. The Beatles, you could find a mood that you're in and find a Beatles song to match it.
Yeah, that's true.
Queen is amazing and is as groundbreaking as they are. They are Queen. They had that one sound, which is just dynamic, stadium-driven rock, amazingness.
Yeah.
For lack of fucking better words. Theatrical. Just, I mean, I love Queen. I mean, they're lyrically, vocally, musically, Queen is like the top echelon of like rock bands. So, given both those ideas, it's not an easy choice for me. So let's get into the voting now.
By the way, Beatles broke up at 74, Dean. I just looked it up there.
74. Okay.
Yep.
That's not a sex number.
It could be.
Well, it depends on where your thumb is.
It's true.
So
I've come up with a lot of new ones. We'll discuss that on another episode. But anyway,
well, you use your toe that one time. So let's start with
that's the end of the 7. Oh, sorry.
Brian, what say you? Let's start the voting.
You have a very interesting comment there when you said that if whatever your mood is, there's a Beatles song that kind of matches it. That's that's very intriguing. So that's
I'm very smart.
Well, but you're right. If I'm just in a good mood, I don't want to hear anything too complicated. I can go back and listen to the early Beatles. I want to hold your hand and all that stuff. It's just very nice, easy, early pop music. It's just fun. It's hard to be in a bad mood listening to early Beatles, and then they certainly got into more complex songs and deeper lyrics and everything else there. My dad was a huge Beatles fan, as you know, so I grew up with Beatles playing in the house all the time. I used to play the Sgt. Pepper album constantly. That was when I played that over and over again, and even doing homework. Anyway, so Beatles definitely resonates with me big time here. So, okay, hard decision. All things considered, overall influence and the library and lyrics and your comment there, it really takes it to the level for me, Dean. I'm going to go with the Beatles to overtake Queen narrowly, in my opinion. There you have it.
All right. Beatles is marked down for Brian. Nicholas, what do you got?
Yes. So, like I said, of two minds. In my head, if I'm, in my head when I'm doing this bracket would probably come down to the Beatles and the Rolling Stones is probably what it should be in my head, based on when you think of a all-time rock band battle bracket.
Sure.
However, so I've got the legacy pick, and then I've got who musically impresses me more. Against the lesser band, I might feel more pressured to pick the Beatles, but I don't feel that it's unjust to go with Queen, and I'm just going to go with who impresses me more on a musical standpoint, and I'm going to cast my vote for Queen.
Whoa!
So, Dean, you are the tiebreaker.
I am the tiebreaker. Before we started this bracket, when I drew them out of the hat, I figured I knew who I had, in these battles. But as we're talking about it tonight, giving on influence and substance and you can't even say the word talent because shit, all of these people that we picked have talent to be a great band. And all of these people are somebody's favorite band. So it really comes down to influence, maybe. It comes down to what they put in, and I know I'm rambling because I'm actually still trying to decide. You know what? I'm going my gut instinct. God damn it. I didn't think it would be, but the Beatles are passing Queen here tonight.
All right, there we go. The
I'm
Beatles
going
have
for the
moved on.
Beatles.
That's fair.
All right,
You know what? My favorite thing about the Beatles probably is in the spirit of moving on is if they were around today and still a band today, the types of things that they would be making, the types of things that they would be doing.
It would be insane.
But like in the spirit of moving on, they would probably be getting from show to show on an electric bike. That's how they would be choosing to move on. And their choice as an all-time great band would probably be to go with an all-time great electric bike dealer. And of course, you need look no further than Carrollton, Ohio, which is the home of our friends at RPM Bike Shop. If you don't believe me, go to that Facebook search bar, type in RPM Bike Shop, see them for yourselves. You can also go to their website, rpmbikeshop.com. Check out all the wonderful products they have to offer you. You can also give them a call, maybe talk about some pricing, talk about when you might be able to stop out, maybe take one for a test drive, sit on one, feel that seat beneath your buttocks. Give them a call at 330-808-7792 and talk to them today about forging your own pathway into an all-time great environmentalist, an all-time great electric bike rider with RPM Bike Shop.
Well done, sir.
John Lennon would want you to. If John Lennon were here today, he would tell you to call them. That's right.
Very good.
He would say, imagine. Imagine there's no pedaling.
You already ran into it.
Imagine only you. Imagine it's just you and the road and the power of electricity beneath you. That's what he'd say.
He'd probably rhyme more, but you know.
Probably, but you know, he's not fucking here, is he? So that's what we've got.
All right, so moving on. Our next battle, ladies and gentlemen, is Aerosmith against Metallica.
Okay, this is good.
This seems like since I'm babbling, I'm gonna just knock it out of the way. These two bands seem like the same horse, just a different color.
I was just gonna say that this harkens to our other one with that we were like, well, they're kind of the same thing but different genres, like Guns N' Roses and Zeppelin.
They're known by many, right?
Yep.
They're loved by their fans are rabid.
Yeah.
And even their fans have chastised them for changing suit mid-course, right?
Two bands that have definitely not only just rested on the laurels of their hits, they have changed through the decades. They have adapted to the way the rock genres have gone. They've made a variation of different styles of music, all while staying relatively true to
themselves.
What they do. Yes.
Yeah.
Aerosmith changed the game with the Run DMC Walk This Way, song. Metallica, changed the game with, just kind of being that first metal band that went not public, but mainstream.
Yeah, it got real successful, yeah.
Right.
Sure.
So both are just... I honestly, until you gentlemen convince me.
I want to hear what Brian says because I'm the same kind of mind as you.
I've not chosen yet. So Brian,
No, everything you said is correct. I mean, and both bands certainly had their own struggles as well. If you want to get into the more personal aspects of it, I mean, some bands they struggle with some addiction issues, and they had to fight their way through it. And the band members, James Hetfield notably, and then certainly Steven Tyler. I mean, they fought through that, and they persevered. Like you said, both bands evolved. Metallica continues to put out new music to this day. New albums coming out soon. I'll just add this quick sidebar, by the way. Metallica was on Howard Stern this week. Fantastic. They played. The interview was phenomenal. It's not going to impact my decision here.
Was it electric or acoustic?
They played mainly electric. They did one acoustic version of Battery, which was fantastic.
Nice.
Yeah. So if you have the Sirius XM app, you can listen to this on Howard Stern. You definitely go check it out. Listen to it today. Phenomenal. You'd have different levels of respect for these guys. They really know what they're talking about musically and everything else. Anyway, it's for me, Aerosmith is solid rock band, great music. Again, they definitely adapted to change their sound in the 80s to, they had a whole resurgence, which lasted for many years, right? Metallica, certainly very. For me, the edge is going to be. I like Metallica music better personally, and I think in their realm of music, I tend to think they're more of a pioneer and more influential in that for what they were putting out there in the thrash metal and hard rock. Again, Aerosmith, very solid band. There's definitely people that I'm sure that were influenced by Aerosmith music. Joe Perry is one of the greatest rock guitarists, period, no question. Steven Tyler, fantastic vocalist, one of the greatest of all time, certainly. But again, look at overall Metallica. So to me, that's where it's more of a struggle for me to say that Aerosmith is better than Metallica. But it's still it's definitely a tough debate. Nick, what do you think?
I don't have much to add other than what you guys have said.
All right,
already.
moving on.
So I mean, I'm ready to cast votes. I think because I really all the things you both have said. I could have said.
What are you struggling with? Because you stuttered on you're ready to cast your vote. Well, give us the little thing that you're struggling with.
I don't think I'm struggling with anything. I think I know who I'm going to pick, and I'll explain it. I mean, if you're ready to cast my vote,
go for it.
So
then you go first. Then.
Yeah. I love, again, both incredible bands. I think Aerosmith has had more versatility through the years as changing through 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s and staying relevant, which I think in and of itself is quite the feat. Metallica, like you said, Brian, pioneers when it comes to, thrash metal. I mean, heavy metal and not in heavy metal is very subjective, but in the way that I perceive metal today,
sure.
Metallica, in many respects, if I would say like Black Sabbath is the Beatles, then Metallica is like
the
Queen. You know what I mean, or something. They're like they're like a more modern day, an amplified version of the base layer that was set. I am personally a bigger fan of Aerosmith. I would rather listen to Aerosmith. But I think I'm picking Metallica because of, again, we're going with legacy and the impact. As much as I love Aerosmith and I admire what they've done through the years, Metallica has probably been more of a foundation for a lot of other bands, as well as musically, they are more impressive. And this could be my bias towards like heavy music, but like, you give me any metal band over your classic rock bands, and the metal band's going to win every fucking time because they're just always more impressive musically for me. So even though I do love Aerosmith, and if you stack both of their catalogs in front of me, I'm going to pick out more Aerosmith stuff that I have liked than Metallica. But Metallica, I'm going to pick Metallica. I think Metallica should win. Metallica is my vote.
Dean?
All right. So I wrote down my pick before Nick started talking, and because same as what he had, if like on a daily basis, you go, who you want to listen to? I'm not like hardcore, metal.
I never would have got that from your Tommy
times.
Bahama shirt. That's weird
Right?
that you said that because that's not what I would have thought. No, I'm just kidding.
But I do love fucking Metallica. Like I said in the last episode, is they hold a very special place in my heart of like turning me on to like way different music than I was used to and loving it.
Mm-hmm.
But the idea of what Aerosmith has done, what they have contributed to, what the adaptation that they have gone through, I'm going with Aerosmith.
Yeah. Well, we have another tie on our hands. So, Brian, the breaker, it is up to you, sir.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, you both raised good points, and certainly Aerosmith they were smart to continue to evolve and cater to the decade that they were in. They definitely were able to extend their popularity and a career for several years. They were smart enough to do that. Metallica has too, though. So Metallica certainly, the first 3 albums are, super, super heavy and fast, and they continue to get more elaborate over the, they got to get into Justice for All and other stuff. And then they were smart enough to step back and say, hey, if we want to take these things to another level, we got to try to simplify things if we want to get more video play, airplay, and just for ourselves to be able to go out and play songs that are less than 8, 9, 10 minutes at a time in concert, etc. So they were smart enough to continue to evolve as well. So it's not just a preference thing for me in what I would prefer to listen to, but I honestly think that I want to give the edge to Metallica here, just from the overall influence in their genre and their complete catalog of work, and just the musical talent overall, I think is super impressive.
All right, there you have it.
Metallica moves on.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Metallica moves on.
God damn it. You're not the keeper of the bracket.
I got one job. All right, going on to the next round. Actually, the opposite side. We're going real quick to Rolling Stones against Tool. I think this is going to be more entertaining than you'd think.
Ooh.
Rolling Stones against Tool. Let's actually, because Nick doesn't seem like he's any way able to talk. Brian, start with you. Give your argument.
Again, it's not really fair with me because again, I'm not as familiar as I said last week.
Did you at least listen to the song that I sent you?
I did. I am familiar with that song.
Okay.
It was Schism, right, by Tool.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
say,
very
there's
good
one
song.
it's got to be that one, I would think.
Yeah, very very good
sober.
song. Yeah. The musically, vocally, terrific song. The Stones, again, obviously, just similar to the Beatles in many respects, in just the super extensive library. And these guys, again, they continue. They experimented. They had different sounds. They had blues. They had rock. Just the longevity of them, and they continue to tour to this day. And it's really pretty, fascinating. So. I don't know. So for me, it's not going to be a whole lot of competition personally, just from the overall, like I said, legacy and again, I'm just not as familiar with Tool, so that they have a disadvantage from my opinion. So Nick, what do you think?
So this is such a struggle because I already outlined my 2 criteria, right? The one that I'm musically, I either think are better musicians, the other one's it's the legacy pick. These are the exact polar. Mm-hmm. One is so legacy and the other is so much more musically impressive. It's just wild. Like there's no middle ground. They don't bleed in together at all. Like it's just the Rolling Stones should win. They're one of the greatest bands ever because everybody says they are, and they're fantastic. But Tool is so musically impressive that I would only second them to Rush in my opinion. So it's just like there's one that is so musically orgasmic and then there's one that is just so legendary. what do you do with that? I don't know how to base that. So, Dean, you talk now.
Fuck you. Ah, Jesus. Oh, God. No, this. I'm sitting there staring at both fucking names. Just, I don't know. This is. We're getting on to the deal there.
I'll tell you what. I'm going to do this because I don't want it to be on me. I don't. I'm going to say Tool. Tool's my vote because I picked them, and they're the most impressive musically.
You know
and
me too well.
I think they're incredible musicians, and I don't want that on me because I don't know that I even feel that they should win. I just that way, if I in my heart of hearts, if I'm being completely genuine, it's nothing against Rolling Stones. I understand they're one of the greatest bands of all time, but I've never heard anything from the Rolling Stones like that has come on the same stratosphere that impresses me like Tool does. So that's just me. I don't say that it's right. That's just my pick, and it's on you. I don't care. Just go.
All right.
I don't want it on me.
So we have Nick's vote. Rolling Stones and Tool, like you guys both said. Me going third, it helped because like I don't have to say much. You both said it all. Rolling Stones is iconic, and they are the echelon. They are the comparison to other bands. Like if you argue any band and you go, oh, is it the Stones or the Beatles? You are like the icon, right?
Yeah. Whoever your favorite band is, they talk
Right.
about the Rolling Stones. Like they're
Right.
like they love like everybody.
And they're still going, but like Nick
Tool
said,
would probably be like Rolling Stones.
yeah, but like if you took the centuries and divided them, and like you didn't know this century happened, the Tool might be up there, right?
Sure.
In
yeah.
that
absolutely.
bracket, like
in a '90s
right? If you
centric,
section each decade out and didn't know anything about the other decades, what band would be that, Rolling Stones or the Beatles, right? But like musically and lyrically, Tool is just phenomenal. It's innovative. But again, back in the day, back in the 1960s, so was the Rolling Stones.
Sure.
Mhm.
I'm going. Have we started voting?
Yes.
Yeah, you're the decision maker. Whoever you pick wins.
Oy vey. Fuck. You know what? I'm going my gut instinct. I'm going to Rolling Stones. All right.
There you go. It's fair. That is
Tool
fine.
is innovative and brilliant, but the Rolling Stones, God damn it, are the Rolling Stones.
Sure.
Yeah.
There you go.
All
It's
right.
not shocking. It's fair. That's
No.
good.
It's
that's-
not,
yeah.
but like
Honestly, if you pick Tool, I just didn't want because I'm like, if the upset of the century happens, I don't want to be because of me. Because I feel
Right.
it's not like it's not
But I
that
tell
either
you,
one
I was
doesn't.
very
you know what I mean?
close.
It's just
like
yeah,
I was
like
literally a sentence away. Like I didn't know until like that sentence came out of my fucking head.
right.
All right, so moving on to the last part of the semifinals, Iron Maiden against Guns N' Roses.
Yep. It's a
So
good one.
I know that this is going to be harder for you two, so I'm going to start with Nick on this
Okay.
one.
So, like we've discussed, both incredible bands, musicianship. Like I said, you put me up with the heavier band, a little more flair on the. I mean, it's fair to say flair. Like it's hard. It's fucking Slash and Guns N' Roses, but typically the more metal-based bands are a little more. Ooh, that's the shiny toy for me. So I certainly am a bigger Iron Maiden fan. Musically, God, they're both great bands. I enjoy Iron Maiden more. But ugh.
Is that
The
your-
more I think about it, yeah, that's my official
right.
statement. Blah.
All right.
Jesus, man. I have no problem saying that I think Iron Maiden holds the better vocals. as much as Axl Rose is his voice, it's like Geddy Lee when we were talking about Rush. Whether you like his voice or you don't,
Sure.
it is an acquired taste, but you can't deny that there is power there, and whether it's for your ears or it's not, which, on a lot of songs, he's just great for that time. He fits that time and that attitude and the era and what they were doing.
Sure.
But as far as what's more pleasant for me to hear sing a song, both high and low ranges, Bruce Dickinson would be my pick as well.
Sure.
So man, it's tough. It is tough, but I think I've definitely leaning towards Iron Maiden. I think Iron Maiden would be my official pick. There again, just their catalog they wow me a little bit more. And at the end of the day, as much as I try to take in everything into account as we're doing these, I'm always going to place, if everything's worth a point, the musicianship is worth like a point and a half. You know what I mean? It's just a little, It carries a little more weight for me. And it sounds silly to say that a band that is going up against the band that has Slash in it, I am more impressed musically with. However, just like I said, that's just kind of the way that my bias leans and the type of music that I like. And typically, a band like Iron Maiden is just, I don't know. I think I'd have to pick Iron Maiden. So, Brian, over to you, sir.
Yeah, a lot of things you said are I agree with. I mean, I like Guns N' Roses. It was said last week, Appetite for Destruction. I put that whole album up against many rock albums, period. For me, Guns N' Roses is that album, and maybe three or four other songs, give or take, something like that. Now that's maybe on me. Maybe I need to listen to more of the complete albums again of the Use Your Illusion 1 and 2. I mean, there's definitely good stuff in there, no question about it. But like you said, Iron Maiden, individual talent of every guy in the band, is to me, it's just a different level. And I could sit down and listen to several hours of Iron Maiden music, and it's going to be different. And to me, if I'm listening to Iron Maiden is more, Guns N' Roses is fun. It's a moment. It's fun. It's cool. Iron Maiden is more of an experience listening to. Right. And I've seen both bands live as well. I mean, I didn't see the full version of Guns N' Roses, so it's a little bit different here. But I have seen Iron Maiden live, and again, it's an experience to listen to them musically and visually and everything else here. So to me, this is going to be probably a fairly easy pick between these two bands. So, Dean, what do you think?
All right. My argument's going to be quick, and I'm going to get to my vote. I don't know, honestly, that much about Iron Maiden. But I know what I know about Guns N' Roses, what they meant to me musically in my life, and what I experienced with them was a lot. But I mean, I respect your guys' arguments, but I don't know Iron Maiden that much. So, I mean, it makes me want to like go out and seek out and listen to Iron Maiden. But as of this moment, I don't know Iron Maiden that much. So that's my argument, and I'm going to start the voting, and I'm going to go with Guns N' Roses.
Okay. Nick?
Nick?
Iron Maiden is my official pick. So, Brian, you are the tiebreaker.
Maiden.
Iron Maiden.
Iron Maiden. There we go.
There we go.
Dean, we're gonna sit around. I would enjoy the three of us at least. Whoever else wishes to join, and sit around a fire or something and listen
Nick
to some
doesn't like
Iron
hanging
Maiden.
out with us, but like you and I can do it.
Well, if Iron Maiden's never been involved before.
Oh,
Yeah, we're gonna do that. We're gonna do that.
It's a musical
cigar,
thing. I'd probably be there. Yeah.
Little cigar, a little bourbon, and
There we
that'd
go.
be great.
No,
like
you
this.
can't. No. Not with Iron Maiden. You drink cheap ass beer and smoke darts, man. There's no.
Fair enough.
No. Iron Maiden is not. No,
Yeah,
it's not whiskey and cigars.
We do fucking Budweiser and Marlboro Reds.
Yeah, you listen
That's
to
fine.
the Rat Pack with your whiskey and cigars, not Iron Maiden.
Actually, the Iron Maiden is a beer. Even maybe we'll find that.
They do.
Yeah,
I
the
see
Trooper, right? Is it called the
Yeah.
Trooper, right?
Yeah, I think you're right. Something like that.
All right, boys. Are we continuing tonight? Because we have the we did. I don't know what the fuck you.
Let's
call
knock it out because hockey playoffs are starting next week, and I don't know if I'll be here or not. So let's just fucking roll that.
All right. So, all right. We're going to do this one, and then we're.
I mean, if that's cool with
break.
you guys, I'm not I shouldn't be the executive decision maker, but
it's 11. Yeah, it's yeah. I'm okay if you guys are okay.
Actually, Nick, it's up to you because you're the one.
That's what I'm saying. I don't. Yes, right. Yeah. So let's do it. Let's roll with it.
I got to make pee sometimes, so
okay.
But we can continue with this and start with back on the other side. Let me show YouTube. I don't know.
That doesn't help for people listening.
It doesn't. Fuck them. All right. Beatles against Metallica.
Ooh.
That is the next round. And we're going to start giving on the exasperation of Brian. Brian, you're going to argue the Beatles against Metallica.
Like we said in even one of the quotes earlier in a prior episode was like the Metallica is sort of like the Beatles in some respects of our generation. Maybe it was Led Zeppelin. That's what he said. Maybe they're credit. Anyways, both super influential in their generation, certainly for different reasons and the different types of music that they put out there. Man, this is a tough one. Man, because both, yeah, it's going to be very difficult. I have to think about this one for a minute because, again, like I said, just both bands have argument with extensive catalog of music. Both bands definitely evolved over time. They experimented with different things in sounds of music, acoustics, whatever. I mean, it's a very difficult. Musically, certainly, all the guys in each band are very talented. Vocally, man, it's tough. It's a tough one here. Nick, what do you think?
So, this is so dumb to say out loud. Like,
well,
the Beatles.
It's okay. Most things you say.
I know, but this might be one of the dumbest.
I'm interested.
The Beatles are not an indie band, right? They're pretty popular. I just don't think I've heard enough of the Beatles. I don't. I know the Beatles. I know the Beatles music from across the universe. I don't know them. I don't know anyone who's ever listened. I just don't. I've never been around it. I've never been around their music. I know who they are because of who they are.
Your wife is a huge fan.
She doesn't listen to them. Like I mean, maybe she does in headphones or in her car by herself, but it's not like I hear it around the house. Like, you know what I mean? So I almost feel like at a certain point, because
she's way too into like listening to like the random voices in her own head.
The Beatles songs that I've heard, like that's my whole thing. Like, I've never really understood the thing with the Beatles, really, because like I feel like it's like you had to be there, or like it was because of when it happened. And I say that because the thing that I struggle with is I understand the Beatles are one of the greatest bands of all time, widely considered to be, so on and so forth. I've never heard a Beatles song that musically I've been like, that is impressive. You know what I mean? And I don't say that to like, I'm not trying to shit on them. I'm not trying to disparage them. I've never heard a Beatles song that I go, wow. Like listen to that musically. Like, wow. It's all very like, it's catchy and it's, like.
Have you heard their later stuff?
Probably not. I don't know what I've heard. I've heard what's in Across the Universe, and I've heard like the big songs, but I don't know. Like, probably not. Like, I mean, I don't know.
Okay, fair enough.
So it sucks because like I feel like I'm, like you guys said, like Brian was talking about with Tool and stuff, or you were saying with Iron Maiden. It's like, yeah, obviously I'm not a fucking idiot. I know who the Beatles are, but like,
right,
I don't know the Beatles music. Not really. I know like the stuff I would see. Remember, there used to be a greatest hits compilation of the Beatles that would come across the screen late at night.
Yeah.
And it'd be like, including these songs. And it would, the little ones that were highlighted in yellow are the ones that were playing when it passed by. I know those songs, and I know the songs that are in Across the Universe. Now, watching Across the Universe made me appreciate the songwriting tremendously, because if you haven't seen that movie, go fucking watch it. It's incredible.
So
and the vocal
amazing.
talents in there are fantastic, and the storytelling is great, and it's a beautifully done movie. So that definitely made me appreciate, from a writing perspective, the Beatles.
TV Carpio singing I Want to Hold Your Hand. I've honestly never wanted to masturbate to a song until I heard her sing that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, Evan Rachel Wood singing Blackbird is just amazing.
Beautiful.
Like, I love that song. But I heard the Beatles version of it, and I was like, I don't like that one. I like the bird actually tweeting in it. It's very odd. I don't know.
Actually,
but
I want to apologize. My grandmother sung me Frosty the Snowman, so I have to take back my previous comment. Nick, go ahead.
I don't know how to do that. I'm gonna try to. So yeah, Beatles, man. Like, I don't know. It's one of those things that, like, my skin crawls as I say it, because I feel like it's so musically sacrilegious to be like, there's this like thing that, like, it's the Beatles and the Stones and they're the best, and so like there's a part of me that like feels like based on merit, you know what I mean? But I'm like, I'm not like, Metallica just like really wows me with what they do with their instruments. They're so talented. So I feel like it's not even fair, because I feel like I should pick the Beatles. I feel like everyone should pick the Beatles because it's the Beatles, but I don't even know why. Like, so I don't know. So I don't know. You guys talk. You know them both. You talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Well, Nick's argument went 78 minutes. So Brian,
shut up. God.
What are you reaching in there for?
A beer, because you're pissing. I need to drink to deal with your shit.
You talk about the factors. You talk about the talent of the band.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. You talk about the influence. You talk about the library of work. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then you could also get into lyrics. And
sure.
In their own way, each of those bands are super talented. Both those bands are, no question about it. I've seen, there's like that Disney special of the Beatles where it's just amazing. They sit down and they just start writing a song right on the fly. I know Metallica's done that as well. You start noodling around. Their minds operate that way. There's guys in both bands where their minds operate to where they're just geniuses in their own right, as far as, they can come up with something quickly, and it's just amazing. So both bands are certainly amazing and influential. Both bands certainly had longevity, but you step back, the Beatles obviously flamed out after so many years. Metallica continues to. Metallica's been around since the early '80s.
Sure.
They lost members. They had a tragic death in the band, and they continue to persevere, and they decided to stick together and go through it. So, to me, that says something there as well, So, all things considered, I'm not saying we'll shock the world necessarily. I'm going to give the edge to Metallica. How about that?
That is something, since we're not voting yet. So I'm going to go.
Brian said, now we fucking are. There you go. Thrash metal waits for no one's permission to vote.
That's right.
How about that?
That's right. Well, I'm going for it.
So mine will be very quick. The Beatles and Metallica, again, like you guys said, are same band on a different side of the coin, right? They are generations apart, but they have the same influence on their fans as each other. The Beatles a little more, but they also, it's kind of one of those ideas of like TV, what was more popular. But like when MASH was on, when the MASH finale happened, there was only 3 channels. So of course everybody in America watched.
Mm-hmm.
If it would happen today, they wouldn't have that, reach. It's kind of the same deal. And yes, granted, I understand that they're different genres. You're not going to have the same Metallica fan as the Beatle fan in general. But like me, I am that in between where like I'm a huge fan of both. Both of them are just equally, not equally. Beatles are more iconic, just given time frame.
The Beatles are arguably the most iconic band ever.
Correct.
Is that fair to say?
So,
I think it's fair to say.
It's fair to say. So
But
it's
again, depends
unfair
what
to
you
put
grew
that
up.
argument
That's what you grew up.
in here.
Yep.
Brian, did you just say depending on when you grew up?
I think it depends where. I think it depends when you grew up. I think it's certainly if there's
Well,
anybody.
Well, in my
look at
household, certainly Metallica was more iconic in my house.
But look at
But
Brian's
knowing
household.
the world, you know what I mean? Pop culture in general, it's, well, right.
Yeah,
Brian's
my
household, his
but-
dad was a huge fan, and he
That's
grew
right.
up with Metallica. So I mean,
Mhm.
it's a weird stance, but both bands are deserving to move on. This isn't a home run for me. So there's my agreement. Brian, you said
I'm edging Metallica here.
Nick.
I want you to vote because I don't know. Or do you want me to vote because you don't know?
No, I'll go.
Okay. I think I
I'm
know.
going gut
But...
instinct. I'm going Beatles.
Okay. Well, I got out of making the difficult decision with the fucking Rolling Stones.
Look at you, all smart and centered and on.
But now
somebody
it's on
else.
me. So, shit, man. Honestly, if I were to pick the Beatles, it would be out of soul pressure that I feel that I should, but I don't love that. I feel like I'm edging out one of the greatest bands in the world just because maybe I'm not as familiar with other than 20 songs or whatever. But off of my own experience, I don't know how because like I said, if I'm judging on categories, the musical wow factor to me is worth a little more of a point, so I'd have to pick Metallica, which I feel like is so wrong. But I
That's right.
you know what would be cool? Like it would bring me a little comfort if I went and listened to I'm gonna have a Beatles day tomorrow after I get done with all the podcasts I listen to. I'm gonna listen to the Beatles on shuffle all fucking day and just see what happens, and then maybe
Nick,
come back and be like, "What the fuck
Nick,
did I do?"
and
Or
let me-
just be like,
do
"Okay,
me a
it was
favor.
great."
Do me a
snap.
favor. Listen to the later Beatles when you got a little jazz cabbage.
Okay.
It's appreciated more.
Okay.
I Am the Walrus on some jazz cabbage.
Okay.
You get it. You get
Okay.
it. All right. But either
And
way,
also, before we move off of this, if everyone could do me a favor and not mention to Robin that I was the decider in having a band that she thoroughly hates be one of her
that,
favorite, her
Nick
favorite of all time, that'd be
chose
great.
to be the decider. All right. So
Metallica's
between
moving on.
the Beatles and Metallica moves on.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, that's
I think it is.
It's
Are
Metallica
not the Beatles of in their own right of their
right.
little section
but-
of the umbrella?
Yeah, we're not saying AC/DC or Guns N' Roses
Sabbath
knocked off
probably
the
is, but-
Beatles. You know, right? Sabbath should have been in this argument, by the
So
way.
Metallica is in the finals.
Yeah.
Okay, Metallica's
And
there.
now-
How would I have
Nick-
Black Sabbath in this anyway? That's stupid on our part. Anyway, go ahead.
Well,
They definitely
because,
deserve to be there before AC/DC. God damn it!
Yeah,
that is
that's okay.
actually very true.
Anyways.
So, but
And
we're
probably
all idiots. We didn't
I don't know. I
choose
love
them. Coming up next, Rolling Stones against Iron Maiden.
Whoosh.
We are going to. You guys are going to take a real hard look at yourselves and your thought process. We're going to take a break.
Okay.
We're going to come back, and we should have all of our whole thoughts
Mm-hmm.
comprised and ready to talk about and vote?
All right, welcome back to Convincing Idiots. Before the
Hour
break,
number 5.
yes, that's right. Rock
The
band
midnight
battle
hour.
bracket. That's right. Yeah. So before the break, we posed a very big question here of Iron Maiden versus the Rolling Stones. Big one here. Similar to the last argument. We have Metallica versus the Beatles. I guess I'll just keep talking. So it's the same type of thought process. No, I'm just serious. It's the same type of
I was
thought
like, shit, was I
process.
supposed to jump on something?
Same type,
I don't really want to hear you guys, so I'll go.
No, but again, you're talking about the influence in their genre. You know, certainly two different types of rock music, hard rock metal versus the more, just straight rock and roll band. You know, musically talented. I mean, it's hard to argue a lot of. I mean, from a sheer talent perspective, a lot of bands just don't. Person by person, don't match up too well against Iron Maiden, in my opinion. From just who could play the drums better, who could play guitar better, who could play the bass better, who could sing better. Iron Maiden is a strong contender in many respects from a sheer talent perspective. Both bands obviously have extensive libraries. Both bands have evolved. Man, this is a tough one here too. So I don't know, Nick. What do you think?
This is tough because this is the exact same conversation we just fucking had for me.
Yeah.
Not quite to the extent. Like, I mean, the Rolling Stones are certainly the easy legacy pick. They are widely considered one of the best bands, if not the best. Them and the Beatles. Stones are Beatles. Stones are Beatles. You hear it all the time. One of the greatest bands of all time. It's not quite the same for the Beatles. Like, I have heard, I've heard more of a diverse collection of Rolling Stones songs. And while it's not necessarily like my thing, or I don't ever sit there and turn on Apple Music and listen to the Rolling Stones, like when they're on the radio, like I'm like, okay, I hear a lot of different things going on. I know a lot of their songs. They are impressive, especially for the time and the era that they were out. But mirroring what you said, Iron Maiden is a tough go for me personally, for anybody to go up against. Very musically impressive when you really listen to it, and what all those guys are doing, what tacticians they are on their specific instruments. So there again, I feel like I'm like, well, I should pick the Rolling Stones, but is it fair to when I just pick Metallica over the Beatles? Like, I mean, if we're going on the same criteria, this is virtually the same conversation for me. Mm-hmm. So, Dean, what thoughts have you? I want to hear what's going on in your brain regarding this. I don't want to hear all of the other stuff. But...
Oh, good. I was about to talk about your mom. Iron Maiden is... I honestly, like I've said in the past, I don't know a whole lot about Iron Maiden. I know their hits. I know what they sound like. It's not like I'm, I don't know, it's what they sound like at all. But I know the Rolling Stones. I know who they are, what they are, how they, their hits, even some of their deep tracks. I know their legacy. I know why they are, like Nick said, they're always put up against Rolling Stone or the Beatles. Given on that criteria, I think I got my pick, and I'm going to start out my vote with going with the Rolling Stones, boys.
Okay,
Brian.
Nick?
I don't know. I want Brian to go last.
Oh,
go ahead,
you guys.
Because
figure it out.
So here's my conundrum. Right, on one hand, you probably know which way I'm leaning because, like I said, this is basically the same conversation we just had. And if I'm grading this evenly, I'm certainly leaning towards Iron Maiden. However, I don't want this to become a thing to where it's like, well, because Brian and I tend to lean a certain way musically. You know what I mean? So, like, I don't want it to be
and in many other ways, trust me.
Sure. So, I don't know. That's my conundrum, is I don't want to make it... We tend to lean towards more, especially in that era of like the 80s and you know, bands 80s and 90s metal and things like that, and certainly the way I was raised, and Brian grew up listening to this music and things like that, so we're a little bit partial. But if I'm going to be fair and I'm going to you know, vote on the last round like I did, I don't know if you can hear my voice, but I feel genuine like burden and like kind of like I'm just
You
like,
look
man, is this right or wrong? Like I feel
like
is this right or
your
wrong?
shoulders
Is this morally?
have slumped down. We
Is this
can't read
morally-
your whole T-shirt anymore. Like you're
I can't-
slumped.
Ask me about, you know what? Don't ask me anything. Don't ask me to pick bands. Because I do appreciate the Rolling Stones. I really do. And I'm thinking about Paint It Black in my head right now, and I'm like, are you really going to buy? Are you about
That's
to
so
vote
awesome.
against
That's my
the
favorite
band that
song
made
of
this
theirs.
fucking song?
Right.
But at the same time, like, are you about to pick one band that is widely considered so great, and you are thinking of this one, and they have more than one great song. I'm just saying in my head right now, versus a band whose entire catalog you basically revere and love and think that they're just amazing and also great. And if I'm basing it off of the last round, which in the interest of fairness, I have to, because I can't consciously boot the Beatles and then flip-flop the way I'm grading things and pick the Stones. So I'm going to pick Iron Maiden. So Brian, this burden is on you to pick.
Because I haven't. I picked the Rolling Stones.
Yep. Your Stones, I'm Maiden,
Right.
and this is on you.
Yeah,
Brian?
the last round. I mean, the last round was like some people are like, how could you possibly pick Metallica over the Beatles? Yeah, both bands have achieved a high level of success and status in their own rights. Both the Beatles and Metallica could fill a stadium, and both those bands, you know, later on, and Metallica to this day is still filling big, huge arenas. Now they're planning a stadium tour. Matter of fact, I'm talking, Nick, about going to Chicago, maybe to see them in Soldier Field next year. How about that? That's kind
cool.
of interesting. Yeah. So with Skinner, so that says something there, right? The bands have been around for 30 plus years or what have you. So, I enjoy both the Stones and Iron Maiden. Depends on my mood. I can sit down and enjoy both bands for a long time, you know, which is something. But I talk about who is achieved at the end of the day. You talk about talent, you talk about library, you talk about influence. Between those two bands, who has achieved a higher level of status and overall success and just the larger influence, I have to edge the Stones in this particular matchup. You know, so that's it. So Rolling Stones gets the edge for me over Iron Maiden.
There you go. Thank you for doing that. And it was
Sure.
I'm just happy whichever way it went, it wasn't up to me. So thank you very much for that.
Yep. Tough one though. Because
All right.
again, musically, you know, you keep talking about this for a long time, but that's it. Yep.
Well, we are to the finals, and gentlemen, can I tell you that like I had every confidence in the world, because I'm like, well, you know, the way this naturally will go will be. I thought the Stones would be here, but I thought it would be the Beatles and the Stones. So this is kind of interesting. This is definitely an interesting final matchup.
All right. Excuse me.
How many's left, Dean?
One matchup left. We're in the finals. That's it, right?
So,
right?
Rolling Stone, Iron Maiden, who won?
The Rolling Stones won, because you and Brian both voted for the Stones.
All right. So the finals, we have Metallica against Rolling Stones.
Wow.
I thought that's what it was, but I just wanted to double check because it seems silly. But
is that why you were
here we
choking?
are.
Because you
No, I was choking because I legitimately had something in my throat. All right, so Metallica against Rolling Stones. This is a would any of you guess that this would be the finals?
No, I thought it was going to be Stones and Beatles.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Or maybe a Zeppelin creeps in or somebody, but like Beatles and
Right.
somebody. I mean, Stones.
I honestly
I
thought
can definitely
Queen
see,
would
but
end up being in the finals.
yeah.
Yep.
All right. So I'm going to argue real quick. Rolling Stones, Metallica. Excuse me.
Well, Dean, if I may, sorry, I know there's a lot to think about here.
By all means.
It's a lot to take in, right? So, yeah, it's not an easy decision,
It's not.
right? Sometimes what's not an easy decision is if you want to get a tattoo, what do you get?
That's true.
Where do you go? Right? But this is one of the easiest decisions you can make here. It's a lot easier than Metallica versus the Rolling Stones, right? If you're in the Northeast Ohio area and you're looking to get a tattoo, I want you to go check out our sponsors at Golden Heart Tattoo.
Partners.
I don't know. Partners, sponsor.
Trust me, Scotty is my partner.
Manager, I don't know. So check them out on Facebook at Golden Heart Tattoo. Give them a call at 234-706-2982 or find them on their website, goldenhearttattoos.com. They've done work on all of us. And actually, I did contact Scott today, as a matter of fact. I'm going to go in on May the 19th, I think it is, that Friday, and get more work. Sorry,
I'm going on Tuesday.
More work on that. Are you really?
To see Greg. Yep.
There
Nice.
you go.
See?
There you go.
2 out of 3 are going to get tattoos in the next couple weeks. So
That's right.
There you go.
That's right. So please continue.
Dean will be there before long as well, I'm sure.
That's right.
well,
Rolling
if I wasn't so
Stones.
poor.
Oh, we don't pay for tattoos.
Oh, you do that thing with your mouth that they were. Gotcha.
Greg and Scott just say how much they like us, and they would just give us free tattoos.
Yeah, it's the payment for the sponsorship of the show.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
Nobody told you about that?
They actually charged me for walking by the shop. It's weird. This is strange.
All right. So who's going first here?
I'm going. Well, I already announced Metallica versus Rolling Stones.
Yes.
And by the looks in both y'all's eyes, I would like Brian to start this one out. Nick, you're ugly. Stop it.
No. I'm going to get a tattoo of a nice face on top of my bad face. I'm going to fix it. Greg, help me.
Yeah, this is tough here. I mean, it's man, Mick Jagger is one of the biggest presences in the overall in rock and roll history. I mean, it's if you think about like if people that barely know rock and roll music, if you see Mick Jagger, I think I know that guy. You know the logo. You understand who the Rolling Stones are. The average person probably knows at least a few Rolling Stones songs.
Look at like the average of like people going to the Rolling Stones concerts to like life. There's a majority of people that probably can say, "Oh, that guy, yeah, he fucked my mom."
That's probably right.
Yeah,
sure.
Keith Richards did coke off of my grandma's ass crack. That's the thing that happened, probably. Yeah, there you go.
That was me, actually.
Oh, okay. Sorry. You and my grandma have the same wardrobe, so I didn't know. Same blouse type.
Yep. That's right. Yeah, so again, it's a tough one. It's again, the Rolling Stones have transcended. You talk about longevity. Those guys stayed together. The original lineup, for many years. They persevered. They continue to put out different types of music. It's a tough one. Yep. So
feel good about that one. I knocked that one out of the park.
Yep. Nick, what do you think?
Yeah, man. Like it's one of those where
sorry.
Okay, I'm gonna compartmentalize this out loud here. Okay, vocals. I'm going to give Mick Jagger the edge. Certainly,
Yep.
James Hetfield is a great vocalist for the type of music he's doing, but as far as vocal talent, let's say, I'm going to go with Mick Jagger. Okay. Who impresses me musically from a tactician standpoint as far as musicianship, right? Whole band. Guitar, bass, drums, everything. Who musically impresses me more? Metallica.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Who do I like more is tough because, again, I lean towards Metallica. I was certainly exposed to more of Metallica's music as a kid. The influence category, while they're both respectable and incredible and in their own rights have influenced tons and tons of bands. I'm going to say Rolling Stones probably has a more wide-reaching net for that.
Yeah.
Who would I rather listen to? Probably the majority of the time I'm more of in a Metallica place just because that's where I lean. But Rolling Stones, very good. If you're listening, like you said, easygoing, rock night. The legacy pick is certainly the Stones. It is a really close battle.
Mm-hmm.
As it should be.
As it should be. So I don't take this decision lightly. I'm not ready to cast my vote, but I want to hear Dean talk a little bit. So, Dean, you go.
All right. What both of you have said, just not now, but like for both bands throughout the last couple weeks, are very correct. Metallica holds a place in my heart because they, like I said in previous podcasts, they opened my eyes to music that I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
And that opened up just a wide range of possibilities and music love. The Rolling Stones did the same thing.
Sure.
You know, growing up, my parents listened to country music and a little bit of like sprinkled rock and roll. I found rock and roll on my own, right? So the Rolling Stones I found on my own because my parents were not a fan. Or at least not that I know of. They didn't listen to them clearly. And when I found the Rolling Stones, and like Brian said earlier, Painted Black, Painted Black was like revolutionary for me. It is the first time that I was on the radio. I was a teenager and I was drunk. We're all sitting around the table and I was like, I want to hear Painted Black by the Rolling Stones. So I called in back then when you called in for requests. I called into the local radio station. I said, I want to hear Painted Black by the Rolling Stones. He goes, yeah, I can do that. Hold on, I can put you on there. I'm like, what? He goes, hold on. Ask the question again when I tell you to go. Next thing you know, and I've already hit record, right? Because I wanted to record Painted Black. So when he goes, Dean from Barberton, you're on the air. I'm like, can I hear Painted Black by the Rolling Stones? He goes, yeah, I can do that for you now. And then it goes into it. So I have that recording of that.
Can I ask you guys a question? That's a
little did you know. Go ahead, sorry.
That's a really real great, like a little aside. I remember the first time I was on the radio requesting a song. Do you, Brian? Did you ever do that?
Was it Hanson?
No, but it's funny.
All right.
I'll tell you in a second, but I want to know if Brian remembers his.
I did. It was some rock song on the MMS or something like that in the 90s.
You don't remember what it was?
I bought the CD after understanding. I don't remember what it, I don't remember offhand now.
Is it 99 Left Balloons?
No.
99 secret balloon. Yeah. Mine was, I was like 9 or 10 years old, and I called in and and I was like, I requested Electric Avenue. I was on the radio requesting Electric Avenue. It was like 9, 10 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So, all right, that was fun. All right, go ahead.
So, given on both my stories, it's time to vote. So we're gonna go over to Brian. Hey, I've said my piece. We said our piece for the past like 3 weeks.
You know?
Come on,
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
Brian, it's your turn to vote. What?
Little did that young boy know, all the way back then, that he would someday be heard in India with a rambling story.
Actually, that boy actually assumed he'd be heard in India. Nowhere else, just India. He was a weird fella.
Yep. Okay.
Voting time.
Yeah. The
The finals. Metallica against Rolling Stones.
That's right. I happen to like the Stones more than the Beatles overall. I just think for several reasons. So it's awful hard. The Stones against it's awful hard to. Okay, I'm going to vote visually. Are you ready? So if you're watching on YouTube, and I'll explain what I'm doing here in a second. Here is my vote, gentlemen. There we go.
The tongue says it all.
I'm holding up a Rolling Stones T-shirt for those only listening here. So, I just have to get the edge of the Stones. Just again, overall iconic status.
Fair.
We're talking about the greatest rock band of all time. Argument. There you go. Nick, what do you think?
All right. This is not easy. This is a gut decision. And if we're voting visually, get ready to see my testicles because I'm going to vote for the Stones.
Yes,
Is
please.
that what? No, I'm just kidding. Rolling Stones. I'm sorry to take all the theatrics out of it, but I have to vote for the Rolling Stones. It just feels what is right. I've argued it in my mind. I've told you out loud all the reasons for different each band, but I have to vote for the Rolling Stones. It just feels right. That is my gut feeling. I have to cast my vote for the Stones.
There you go.
Dean, what be your vote?
No, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Pass.
It doesn't matter anyways. But
It really doesn't. But
what is your vote?
Once again, Dean's a non-factor, but go ahead and tell us anyway. Story of my goddamn life. Actually, I was going to go with Metallica, simply based on the idea.
I wish I would have known that. We would have made that more climactic, and you could have gone.
Yeah, well, you're not good at this job, so
no, it's not a job. I don't get paid for it, so except in free tattoos.
Mm-hmm.
No, you get free tattoos, motherfucker.
All we want.
Jesus.
All we want.
He makes me do hands. Anyways, no, Metallica to me is more iconic. It meant more to me.
Okay.
I love the Rolling. I love both bands, but to me, Metallica, just what it did to me musically, mentally, Metallica would get the vote. So,
where did it do it to you mentally and musically? Can you show me on the doll where it did it to you? Or
it did it here.
Okay, all the good places then.
No, Metallica it opened my eyes to like hard shit that I wouldn't even have thought to look out.
Sure.
For. So, based on what the bands did to me in my musical life, I'm going Metallica. Hands down. But you both went Rolling Stones. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we do finally have the Battle Bracket band winner. And it is no surprise to many, the Rolling Stones.
There it is. The Stones for the win. There you go.
In fairness, if we were talking about the Stones versus the Beatles, I probably would have edged out the Stones just from a sheer enjoyment and everything else perspective.
Yeah.
Just for the record.
Nick?
Yeah, but anyway.
What's that?
What would you have done? Rolling Stones, Beatles.
That's kind of one of those ones where, like, I feel like I would. I don't. You know what I mean? Like, I enjoy the Rolling Stones more from what I've heard of both bands.
Mhm.
So I probably would have picked the Rolling Stones. Would I say that the Beatles probably, like, when people talk about that, like when they have that debate, I always think of like the Beatles are 1A and the Stones are 1B. They're right there, but I feel like pop cultural pull, right? Like it's like the Beatles and then just a half a rung below it's the Stones. Like they're there,
See, I don't
but
think
like
it's fair.
but they're different. They're different, like as far as the types of the style of music's different.
Because, like, to me, given on the surface, the Rolling Stones are the first and ultimate, like, arena band. Like,
Sure.
putting it out there, just
The Stones are
dancing, putting it out
very
there. But
blues
the
to rock,
Beatles,
right?
Beatles were like the fucking band that like did music and like tampered that shit and thought of different ways to change the music. Stones were like, fucking, this works, we are rich and let's put it out there and let's roll. But that's just my perception.
The the Stones always to me seem more of like rooted in blues.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly kind of in a lot of ways created rock and roll as we think of it today. In a way of in the mainstream as far as that lifestyle, as far as like you, Dean, I think mentioned it, like kind of arena rock, like that.
Yeah.
That whole thing. The Beatles almost seem like kind of a half step this way to where it was like, again, the Beatles always strike me from the outside, from an outsider of not really
Look
knowing
at
a
their
ton about
later
them,
stuff,
as
bro.
more of like, they brought this sound to America, to North America, that we, you know what I mean? Like, they were doing shit that nobody over here was doing at the time. And they kind of brought it here, and they're seen more as kind of pioneers in a way of laying foundation, laying groundwork. So I'm not fucking with you guys. I will listen. I'm gonna put the Beatles on shuffle tomorrow because I kind of want to, like, this is kind of, like I said, the Beatles are they're no indie band. It's not like I don't know who the fucking Beatles are, but like I just have never understood. I've never really, like, on a personal level, understood what all the hype and fascination is, because when I hear the songs that I know of them, I'm like, this is fine, but it's or maybe you just had to be there for it, or you had to be there at that time and understand, or grow up with it and have that kind of connection to it. So I will listen, and I will give you updates
to their
when the
later
next episode.
stuff. Listen to their later stuff, and yes, it's fun to be on Jazz Cabbage for it, but don't listen to it going, let's listen to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, that type of beat music.
Right.
Their later stuff is very psychedelic. Listen to it in that vein, knowing that like they were fucked up when they wrote
that
this.
era, right?
And also go, wow, they were fucked up when they wrote this. You know what I mean? It's both sides of that. So
okay,
good shit.
Very good debate, gentlemen. Although stupid not to have Black Sabbath on our part, but that's okay.
We went to officially apologize to Ozzy Osbourne and everybody part of Black Sabbath.
Yeah, Tony, it's dumb on our part, but we should have been in the argument. Yeah, but that's okay.
Dumbasses.
Yeah.
Again, the fucking name of the show's Convincing Idiots. So
right.
Yeah.
And if you don't agree with our opinion, well, just know what you're listening to. And also, actually, I mean, I think you've said it before, Dean, but like anybody that's out there listening that would like to comment on any of our social media accounts, let us know who we missed. Let us know who, even if it's not like through a battle of the bands format, who's your favorite band of all time? Who do you think is the most, if you were doing your own, who would win your battle of the bands?
Right.
Yeah. If you're listening this deep into the podcast 3 hours later, you definitely are hardcore enough and appreciate this enough, which we endlessly thank you. But you can at least comment who your favorite band is. So please do that wherever you may.
That's right, Brian. And thank you. I'm sorry. We had a few comments on some YouTube videos and shorts and stuff like that, to where people may or may not have agreed with us. Some have commented on who their favorite bands are, and thank you. We appreciate we agree, disagree. Taking a second to listen and comment, we appreciate it. Thank you. That's all.
Okay.
Yep.
You guys don't.
So I think all things. I think Nick should go out as maybe
Mick Jagger.
Udo from Accept or something like that. What do you think about that?
Udo from Accept? What?
Yeah, you know who that is?
No.
No.
That's okay.
So it's not going to work because I don't know who that is either.
I'm
Udo
sure
from
you can
Accept?
do a British
No, but
accent
who is
and closely get to Mick Jagger.
So I
He-
realized
He's
I
the
already
lead
did.
singer. He's the lead singer of Accept. Yeah.
All
You ever hear
right.
the song "Balls to the Wall"?
Oh, you get your balls to the wall, man. That one.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah, get your balls to the wall. Yes,
Yeah,
I know that song.
maybe go out as you do whatever you want. Maybe Mick Jagger
British.
or somebody like the British guy. That would be
Yeah.
a
British. All right. Well, I kind of already did that, right? Because when I was like, so a lot of people, I'm Mick Jagger here, right?
This is Jimmy
A lot
Page.
of people. No. That's a very common misconception, mate. A lot of people, when I do this, and I start talking like I do, and I get real into it, a lot of people think that it's Jimmy Page. It's Jimmy Page, right? No, mate, it's not fucking Jimmy Page, or it's Mick Jagger from the Rolling Goddamn Stones, right? Don't you know me? I'm one of the greatest bands of all time, the Rolling fucking Stones, baby. That's right. I like to shimmy and I like to shake it up, right? I like to do a little wiggle, give you a little hip shake like that, right? A lot of people think that. But now, these days, when I talk to them like that and I give them that little shimmy, they know. They don't just know because I'm in the Rolling Stones, right, mate? They know because I won the Convincing Idiots Battle of the Band. That's right. I'm one of the greatest frontmen of all time. I got one of the greatest guitar players of all time and one of the most iconic logos. It looked like that. You see that? It looked like that. That's our logo,
tongue?
right, mate? Yes, that's right. It's a tongue.
All right.
So, without further ado, I want to talk a little bit about the podcast that put me on, right? The podcast that put my music out to the generations. They all know who the Rolling Stones are because they want to convince them that he's battle bracket. So, don't waste your time, mate. Get out there. I want you to get on all their social media accounts. I want you to like, subscribe, rate, review, yeah? All of that stuff. Go to that Convincing Idiots link tree, LINKTREE, and then give them a little shoulder shake, give them a little like, give me a little subscribe, give me a little hip shimmy, all of that shit, yeah? All right, and then you're going to head on over to their website. That's convincingidiots.wordpress.com. And from there, you can follow all of those same links, right? You're going to buy their merchandise. You're going to wear their awesome merchandise to our shows. And then you're going to go over there. You're going to give them your money, right? You're going to join their fan club. That's right. It's not enough to be a Rolling Stones top fan, you gotta be a Convincing Idiot top fan. You're gonna like, you're gonna subscribe, rate, review. So, for this episode of Convincing Idiots and Mick Jagger of the Rolling Stones, mate, I am your millennial Mick Jagger.
Daniel Dean.
Gen X Brian.
Have we convinced you to pump up the jams and rock? Hey there, if you like that video, or if you just like to watch us make fools of ourselves, please like and subscribe to this channel. We really appreciate it, and we hope to see you back here.
Ham gravy.
You little cherub some bitch.
My little cherub. Look at it. Look at that little rose. Look at it. I want to get a little bit of rose in there. And maybe those little baby titties coming on in my face. Come on, bring it up.
Talk to
So I
me
can
like
give it a
Dusty
little
Road.
lick back and forth.
Oh, baby, I lick you front to back and back to front all the way.
I'm going to be like a human toilet paper for your ass. They call me human Thurman.